Good evening. I don't hear any more echo, which is great. I would like to call up Eric from Symphony Space to tell us a little bit about this amazing venue.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, my name is Eric Poindexter, and welcome to Symphony Space. Hello, Ethel. Nice to see you. I have worked at Symphony Space for about 20 years in many different departments. I started off working in the box office. I then had the pleasure of being a part of performances here. I'm also a teaching artist in addition to currently being the manager of individual giving here at Symphony Space. Founded in 1978, Symphony Space serves as a multidisciplinary performing arts education. 1978, two brilliant men saw this space on the corner of 95th and Broadway and saw its potential. And ever since then, we have been a place, we have been a place where the arts bring people together, which is something that is very important to us. We present throughout each year diverse programming that includes literature, music, film, comedy, dance. It goes on and on. And we are deeply committed to bringing people together through the arts. In addition to that, we are deeply committed to arts education, serving thousands of kids all over the city of New York. And we are also committed to community engagement. So your presence here this evening is very much appreciated. And with that, I will hand it over to Mark. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Alex.
All right. Good evening, everyone, to Manhattan Community Board 7's June full board meeting. First attendance waivers, Dan Gernstein, John Shockett, Josh Grossman, Seema Reddy, and Natasha Cosme, all for travel. I also want to thank Steve Anderson and the Upper West Side Coalition for once again helping us get an amazing space in Symphony Space. So Steve is not here, but thank you, Steve, as always. A couple of quick updates. So OMB continues to be slow in terms of moving the money, which you'll hear about in our board finances. So the effort we talked about last month to support block associations is currently on pause. So we will not be able to do that until we unlock our OMB issues. I also want to start by welcoming Erin. I don't know if she made it in yet. She is outside. But Erin is our new community coordinator, and we're very happy to have her. And you can look for an email soon from Jesse about how to reach Erin and etc. But be nice to Erin. Say hello. Also, we have 7 new community board members. I will not make them stand up, but at some point, maybe at Roberta's potluck, you will be able to meet them. I think an amazing group. We have high school students, we have former city officials, we have parents of young kids. So it's a great mix, and I'm really happy to have all of you join us. A couple last items. You saw our tabling photo from Broadway this month. We're going to send out a bunch of more emails about tabling. So if you want to join us, please join us, table, and speak to the community about what CB7 could be doing differently. Also, we have a great blog post up, which is about constituent services. Someone emailed in to say, why was the tree in front of my building cut down? And we answered the question. So I'm not going to tell you why, but you have to go read it to learn why the tree was cut down. We have not yet scheduled our late June full board meeting. Sometimes we do schedule one. It depends on what we have on the docket. We may schedule one. So Jesse and I will be discussing that, and we may be scheduling that. Yes, lastly, on to our current discussion item of tonight, which is drawing the most interest, the 72nd Street redesign. I just want to say I'm very proud of how the board has handled this. We had an initial resolution about this. We had committee meetings about this. We pushed this meeting 1 month in order to give more opportunity to meet with elected officials, business owners, others on the street. So I think it's definitely a difficult issue. We'll hear a lot of passion tonight, but I'm happy with how we did as a board, and I want to encourage everyone in the room to remain excited, passionate, but respectful, so that we can, learn from our neighbors and speak with our neighbors kindly. And that's it. I think, Jesse, for the district manager report.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
So far, he just shared that we have Erin. We started onboarding her on May 26th. We're working through the process. Hopefully midweek, I'll send you her information so you guys could reach out and say hello. We've been working through some of the systems, like some of the portals she doesn't completely have access to. So once that's up and running, we will reach out. And we also have Ari Berman. She's sitting in the back. She's a high school volunteer, and she basically began helping us today when she found out we have this special meeting going on. So I would like to thank her for coming on. And as Alex mentioned, we're closing out the fiscal year. We are trying to move some mods. We did get a response kind of late as to how we're supposed to move forward. So we're going to be working with that tomorrow morning with Will. He's going to be assisting me on how to make sure that goes through. I have also begun budget consultation coordination with other district managers in Manhattan, where we're going to answer some response on behalf of community boards. Also, the last thing, summer planning. As we move into the summer months, committees are encouraged to review their calendars, flag any scheduling conflict, and begin preparing for fall priorities. So I just want to make sure, it's on everyone's radar. And overall, I would like to thank the executive committee for their great work in organizing tonight's meeting. Thank you.
Great. We're going to go to Nandita, but I forgot to announce the roll call is open. So vote yes to say that you're here and raise your hand if you have any issues. There is a Wi-Fi. You can join it without the credential, or the internet, it seems pretty good. But again, raise your hand if you're having issues, and yes for roll call. And Nandita.
Hi, yes, I was about to say the exact same thing. Roll
Sorry.
call is open. So thank you all for joining tonight. On the tech side, I have a couple of updates. One, we're still working on upgrading our Slack as our formal method of communication for all board members. Jesse and I are still working on that. New board members, welcome. You look out for some emails in the future about onboarding and trainings to kind of get more familiarized with board member policies. We are working with our contractor to add like a member resources portal that everyone can log into to kind of see their own attendance and see trainings and advice and stuff from contributions from other board members, kind of get more familiarized with our policies and our procedures and how we do things here. On the communications side, I just want to say thank you all for coming tonight. It is so exciting to have so many people in the room. I want to thank Symphony Space as well as others have for hosting us as well. It's a lot of people have a lot to say, and so we are going to be limiting people to 1 minute. But I just want to say, for those of you who have come in person and had more to say, we do have an online way to submit testimony, both verbal and written, and that we can include that when we send our materials out. So I just want to say thanks everyone again for coming. We wish we could spend hours here listening to everyone talk, but of course, there's other constraints there. But thank you all again, and those are tech updates.
Great. I will share my screen. And oops, sharing the wrong slide. Here you go, Kevin.
Thank you, Alex, and good evening, everyone. So I'm happy to report that we are in excellent financial shape. So those new board members, we are on a June 30th fiscal year end. So we've got roughly 28 days left. So we are projected to have a little over a 7,000 surplus in our personal surplus line, which is salaries for our staff. And we did have some significant staff turnover this year. So as a result, we had requested OMB, we had asked OMB to move funds from personal services to other than temporary services to do some necessary tech upgrades and other investments in technology. So we are in excellent financial shape. And just, I want to acknowledge Jessie, who has been a one-woman show the last couple of months, and she held down the fort. So thank you, Jessie, for all of your hard work. And just to let you know, we have spent down all of our council funds, which came to $11,000 this year, and we're going to ask for more. So we're in great shape, and I'll turn it back over to Alex. Thank you.
Okay, I see a few board members who haven't done roll call, so text yes. One issue? Okay, we'll come over. Sarah Lee, okay, we'll come over. And first, let's have a motion to adopt the agenda. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the previous full board? Second, all in favor? Okay, we're gonna start the community session now. So the community session is for people who aren't speaking on the issue before us. So if you want to speak about 72nd Street redesign, do not come up now. That is not the time for you. This is the time for the general community feedback. So Sue Peters, as is our tradition, would you like to start us off? And Luca or others, if you want to queue up behind Sue, we're ready for you. Two. No, this is just the community session. Yeah. 2 minutes. Yeah.
Thank you. Can someone give me a warning, like 15-second warning?
Yeah, we can give you.
Thank you.
We'll give everyone a 30-second warning and a 10-second warning.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sue Peters. I live in the neighborhood, and I come here every month to try to give some information how to protect yourself from radio frequency radiation. And I'll just tell you, a very good source online is Environmental Health Trust, ehtrust.com. All cell phones and wireless devices have fine print warnings hidden deep in manuals advising the device not be in contact with the body. You are not warned by the educational system, the media system, the government. It's hidden in your manual. Doctors' recommendations about using cell phones and wireless devices. 1, protect your body. Do not carry cell phones in your pockets or bra. No laptops or tablets on your lap. Protect your brain. Prefer a landline phone. Hold the cell phone away from the head and body by using your speakerphone. Reduce wireless. Turn off Wi-Fi and use cords to connect routers, phones, computers, and other devices.
30 seconds.
Thank you. Do not sleep with your cell phone. Cell phones and Wi-Fi devices are radiating even when not in use. Power off all devices at night and keep them out of the bedroom. Please, this information is not given to the public, just like
10
cigarettes
seconds.
decades ago, etc., DDT, etc. Research it yourself. Environmental Health Trust.
And that's
Thanks.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also have signs that we will hold at the 30-second limit and then one at the 10-second limit.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jack Bernatovitz here from Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts. Thanks for having me tonight. Just have some updates from the past month. Last month, we had an incredible groundbreaking for Damrush Park and re-envisioning the west side of our campus. Thank you, Community Board 7, community members, friends in government for joining us for the wonderful event. The construction will continue throughout the summer and next year for the corridor along Amsterdam Avenue between West 72nd Street and West 62nd Street and 65th Street, with the goal of completing work in time for summer 2028. Next week, we are hosting a workforce information session related to construction industry jobs and opportunities connected to the broader Lincoln Center campus. So if you know folks that are interested in workforce opportunities in construction, want to connect with experts, answer questions about pre-apprenticeship programs and joining the union, they could drop by Tuesday, June 9th, 2026 from 3:30 to 6:30 in the David Rubenstein Atrium. And I got flyers on hand if anybody wants these and wants to share them with their neighbors or friends in the neighborhood. Also, we're thrilled to report that our free Lincoln Center membership for NYCHA residents in Amsterdam Houses, Amsterdam Addition, and Harborview Terrace has seen an exciting response. So far, we have nearly 200 households connected with the program, signing up for free access and membership benefits and fast track access for our summer programs. And then this month, we'll also be hosting two artistry workshops with Lincoln Square Neighborhood Center and Positive Influence Goddard Riverside. And lastly, Summer for the City is starting next week. We've got hundreds of free programs all summer long from June 10th to August 9th. We have stuff from dance, comedy, hip hop, all sorts of stuff, family programs, big name concerts. So if y'all are interested in learning more, I also have flyers for that in my hand and a bunch in my bag. And we'll be
10
streaming some of the FIFA World Cup games on Hearst Plaza for free. So come join us and cheer on your favorite team. Thank you so much.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Luca Zubieta. I'm here from District 7 Councilmember Sean Abreu's office. So last full board meeting, I mentioned two bills that were introduced by the council member regarding the upcoming World Cup. I don't know if you guys heard of it. And so I'm proud to announce since then that they've passed. So these bills were in regards to creating a map to track events and businesses that are linked to local games, and one for increased bathroom access during this time. Since we last spoke, the majority leader has introduced a legislation to prevent grocery stores and bodegas from raising food prices more than once in a 24-hour period. In addition to that, I'd like to announce the participatory budgeting results. So first place was technology upgrades for all libraries in District 7, such as new computers, laptops, printers, stuff like that. Second place was the reconstruction of the Morningside Park pathway between the upper and lower levels of West 120th Street. And third place was a basketball court resurfacing at Annunciation Playground. On the first Thursday of every month, so this week, we have a Veterans Services benefits access man who comes to the office and who can help veterans access benefits from the city. So that's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sawaiba Shabazz. I'm from Manhattan Borough President's Office. First of all, congratulations and welcome to all the new board members. We are very, very excited to have you on the board. And a shout out to the Manhattan Borough President's team, aka me, for helping out with that process. So yeah, here we are. Thank God. So also, I have already contacted and welcomed you, and you have my information, all the new board members. But if you should you need anything, you should just reach out simply. So for June, quickly, we're partnering with the Whitney for Pride to provide complimentary tickets from 1 to 5 p.m. on June 5th as part of the Whitney's Free Friday Nights. I have flyers that'll be at the main desk, so please grab it if you're interested. Launching our Manhattan Borough Book Club, join the borough president, author Russell Shorto, and borough historian Harold Holzer to discuss his first book, The Island at the Center of the World, the epic story of Dutch Manhattan and the forgotten colony that shaped America. That is a long title. The discussion takes place on Tuesday, June 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the New York Historical Society. So yeah, if you're interested, just shoot me a message. Also, we are hosting a housing and tenant rights workshop with good old Lower East Side on June 10th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Tompkins Square Library in the East Village. Although that's out of district, but it is a space to come learn and get invigorated. Keep in mind, we have an exhibit planned for our offices gallery with MoCA sometime this month. It will be focused on photographs, maps of Chinatown throughout the ages. And lastly, thank you so much. And this is going to be a great full board meeting. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jordan Paulette, and I'm from the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Just one thing to share with you. In partnership with the NYPD, we are hosting a gun buyback. That's occurring on June 13th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Central Baptist Church at 166 West 92nd Street. What is a gun buyback, you may be asking? Well, it gives community members opportunity to turn in their firearms, whether you have a relative who passed away and you're going through their stuff and you find a firearm. You can turn that gun in, no questions asked, for a prepaid gift card. If you want one of the flyers, I know CB7 has some, but I'll also leave some at a table outside. Thank you.
Hello, CB7. I'm Grace. I'm from Assemblymember Micah Lasher's office. I know we've got a lot to get through, so I'll be quick. We have a budget in Albany. Hooray! So we are very proud to announce that that budget actually included 4 of Assemblymember Lasher's proposals. One to protect our immigrant communities by prohibiting ICE from operating within 1,000 feet of sensitive locations like hospitals and schools and nursing homes, etc. Also to protect our immigrant neighbors, a proposal to give New Yorkers the ability to sue federal agents, including ICE agents, when they violate constitutional rights. There's also a proposal to enforce a 50-foot buffer zone around houses of worship, and also a proposal to crack down on landlords who are harassing rent-regulated tenants. Targeting 3 or more tenants across 2 or more buildings is now a Class D felony. And shout out to DA Bragg, who we worked closely with on that one. Great. In addition to the budget, we are working hard to now pass some bills. So fighting for the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Infrastructure Act to reduce our plastics, and also fighting hard for a data center moratorium for our environment. So stay tuned for more about what passes this session. And also, as far as the community goes, we have a free shredding day on June 11th. Bring all of your documents to 104th and Broadway. We will have a shred truck with the Department of Sanitation from 9 a.m. until noon, and we welcome all of you there. Thanks so much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Wienerman from Congressman Nather's office. I'll keep it very brief tonight. Yesterday, Congressman Nather led on a letter with other New York representatives urging NYU Langone to fight against the recent subpoenas from the Trump administration that would violate the constitutional right to privacy for minor patients receiving gender-affirming care from NYU Langone. The subpoenas require the health system to share confidential information regarding pediatric patients who receive gender-affirming medical care between the years of 2020 and 2026, and their identities of any medical staff involved in the provision of care. Obviously, this is ridiculous. We must continue to protect trans youth from the downright illegal and unjustified attacks against NYU Langone, their staff, and patients who are receiving and providing necessary medical care. The other thing is, last week, you may have seen this, Congressman Nather conducted a congressional oversight visit of the privately owned ICE facility, Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey. After the visit, he reflected that what he witnessed and learned from the discussions with the detainees and officials was deeply disturbing and warrants further oversight and investigations. The medical neglect, denying people access to potentially life-saving care, and withholding necessary medicine is completely abhorrent. He called for the immediate closure of Delaney Hall and demanded the Trump administration cease their cruel, chaotic, and deeply inhumane immigration policies. Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Q from Senator Eric Bottcher's office. First off, happy Pride. I guess it's the second day, but we can still celebrate it. A couple of announcements from our side. The first one isn't in CB7. I'm so sorry, but it's something we're excited about anyway. The Rialto, a building that when the senator was in council, helped sort of spearhead, is now open for affordable housing lotteries, which is thrilling to see because we need more of it. And while that's not a district, I'm excited for everything that will be. Aside from that, we recently held by that I mean literally yesterday, held a fantastic roundtable on how we can protect our healthcare from attacks from the federal government as part of 7 days in June, a really important time to focus on healthcare during, obviously, a time when it's trying to be taken from us. And above all else, excited to say that today, the senator's first bill has passed. It's called Francesco's Law, basically mandating that all guns in a home have to be locked and safely secured when they're not being immediately held. So if you have a gun, you can't leave it lying around for someone to pick up, hurt themselves intentionally or otherwise. A huge step forward for gun safety in New York, and we're really excited and hopeful to see it take effect. That's all we've got. Thank you so much.
We'll go online to Erica.
Hi, everyone. Erica Overton from Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal's office. I am online. I am with my son. But she is in Albany. She is passing as many of her bills as she possibly can right now. She just passed one on the floor of the assembly that would require all private colleges and universities to provide free menstrual products. She was the original sponsor of Axe the Tax on tampons. She also passed legislation last year banning PFAS and other heavy toxins from being used in the manufacture of period products. Also proud, last week the assembly member passed her bill banning the manufacture of 3D guns in New York. The bill would also make it a crime to sell or disseminate blueprints to print 3D guns and auto sears. And as chair of the Assembly Committee on Housing, she pushed for a measure that was successfully included in the budget last week that would raise SCREE, DREE, D, and SHE homeowner benefits income limits from 50,000 to 75,000. So many of those programs go into effect on July 1st. If you're a homeowner, it'll go into effect next year. And then last, the assembly member wrote to the commissioner of the Department of Youth and Community Development regarding the city's decision to abruptly change the RFP process for after-school providers. We worked with CEC3 on it. Many schools in CB7 and 4 lost their longtime providers. And so we're working to get answers from the city on what happened and what PTAs and principals can expect moving forward. And then last, we are having a shred day on June 16th from 9 to 12 noon in front of the assembly member's office, which is at 230 West 72nd Street. Thank you.
Great. I also want to say thank you very much to our friends at the 24th Precinct for coming tonight and deeply appreciate it. Okay, I believe we are done with the community session and we're now going to move to the business. And the first item on the agenda is the 72nd Street redesign. And so Ken Coughlin, and I will start sharing the screen, right, Ken?
Ken, real quick, for timekeeping purposes, we have you as 5 minutes for the presentation, and we'll give you the 30-second warning as well.
We'll give him, that's the guideline. So we hope you stick to the guideline.
I will do my best. So we're starting with the non-controversial ones first. This is good. Can you make that bigger?
Yeah, I should.
You go to the up on the right where it says upper right. There you go.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, this is just a timeline of how we got to where we are today. Back in September of 2020, the community board overwhelmingly passed a resolution calling for a protected two-way bike lane on 72nd Street connecting the two parks, and also asked for improved safety for pedestrians and more loading zones. And over the ensuing 6 years, DOT did community outreach, conducted studies of the street, and created a design. And then they came to us in April of this year to the Transportation Committee and presented their design. We had a 2-hour meeting, heard from scores of members of the community and board members asking questions, making comments, and then the committee voted overwhelmingly to approve it and support the design. The vote was 7-1.
Keep going, Ken. Please come.
The next slide. This is the canvas that DOT was working with, is working with. Rampant double parking. Oh, hey. Delivery vehicles. Okay.
Sorry, can we keep all background noise to a minimum? Thank you very much, guys.
As I was saying, rampant double parking, no place for cyclists, very little curbside access due to the curbside regulations. And DOT told us its aim was to better organize the street, applying lessons they've learned all over the city. And another goal, next slide, is to improve safety. This slide tells us that West 72nd Street is in the top 10% of dangerous streets in Manhattan, and that there were 40 pedestrian injuries and 1 death in the last 5 years on the street. And in addition, 31 cyclists were injured also. Next slide. This is a pedestrian safety slide from DOT. They told us that seniors are the most likely beneficiaries of a protected bike lane, and that is because 90% of the injuries to pedestrians happen at intersections, and protected bike lanes create a lot more safety for pedestrians at intersections by shortening crossing distances and slowing turns of drivers. And the data backs us up. Wherever there are protected bike lanes, deaths and serious injuries to seniors are reduced 39%, and to non-seniors 22%. Let's see. Next slide. And this is a heat map that DOT showed us of the double parking on 72nd. The worst is between Columbus and Amsterdam, followed by Amsterdam and West End Avenue, and then between West End Avenue and Riverside Drive. It's pretty intense. Okay, next slide. This is the basic idea of the redesign. The current configuration is at the top, and down below that is the proposed. Basically calls for a two-way parking protected bike lane on the north side of 72nd Street between Central Park West and Riverside Boulevard. It would remove 1 travel lane in each direction. It would preserve a center lane median for left turns at the intersections and for maneuverability if the lane is blocked. DOT's traffic engineers believe this design will handle existing volumes of traffic. Next slide. There will also, as part of the design, be different bus configurations. The buses are going to load and unload in lane, rather than having to pull over to the curb and pull back into traffic. And there will be elevated bus platforms for where passengers can wait, and they will be at the level of the entrance to the bus. So this will speed the movement of the buses. And the next slide. This is an overhead look of the a bus stop, which is at the top left. And it also, you can see the shortened passenger crossings. And okay, next slide. And this is the same block, except a photographic rendering. The circle, the red circle.
Please keep background noise to a minimum.
The red circle shows the shortened pedestrian crossing. The crossings will be shortened by 1/3, so it's going to take 1/3 the time to cross the street. And
Please keep background noise to a minimum.
and you can also see that drivers have to make more of a right angle turn, which is going to slow them down, slow their turns down. And this is what results in the 39% fewer senior injuries and deaths. Okay, next slide. This is the intersection at Riverside Drive and 72nd Street. Moving from the upper right counterclockwise. One of the other pedestrian improvements that are going to be made is that left turns for eastbound traffic on 72nd Street, making a left on West End Avenue, those are now going to be banned so that there will be no conflicts for crossing cyclists or pedestrians. Next to that, the size of the pedestrian space, which is currently there, is going to be reduced very slightly to make room for the bike lane. Next to that, cyclist access to the park will be maintained while offering 68th Street as an alternative. Next to that, to the left, top left, between 6 and 8 parking spaces will be added to provide protection for cyclists in the bike lane right at the end of 72nd Street. And then below that, a painted pedestrian space will be added on the south side of the street, south side of the intersection for added pedestrian safety. Next slide.
You're at 6 minutes, so a little faster.
This is Riverside Boulevard. The street is narrower there, 45 feet as opposed to 60 feet on 72nd Street. So it's going to require the removal of parking on the east side. 27 spaces are going to be removed. Next slide. And another consequence of putting in the bike lane in the redesign is that the bus stop that's currently at 69th Street is going to have to be moved to the south side of West 70th Street. And it will not be an elevated bus platform there. But it has the added benefit of being a controlled intersection. So pedestrians have the benefit of a stop sign, which they don't have at 69th Street if they're crossing there. Next slide. DOT participated in several community meetings and walkthroughs where they heard business owners and building residents' concerns that there was not enough space for loading and unloading. And they heard those concerns and they made major adjustments to the parking regulations on the mainly on the blocks between Central Park West and Columbus and Amsterdam. And so a lot of alternate side parking is converted to short-term metered parking converted to truck loading zones and commercial loading zones. And they made it clear to us that they will be monitoring the street very closely and can very easily make adjustments on the fly. Next slide. There's already a street in Manhattan that has this redesign. It's Dyckman Street up in Inwood. It's a commercial street. It's been in place since 2018. In that time, in 8 years, there has not been a single cyclist on pedestrian injured by a cyclist. This is the
Please keep background noise to a minimum.
if you could go back 1 second, yeah, this is the elevated bus island. And the next slide is also the elevated bus island. And then the next slide shows one of the pedestrian refuges and a child safely making it across the street.
Please keep all background noise to a minimum.
Next slide. Next slide. And these are the some of the frequently asked questions. Should I go through these or?
Yeah, you want to quickly read them?
Okay.
Shh.
Okay. Will there be increased enforcement? Yes. And the DOT believes the new design will discourage double parking. Will there be increased safety for pedestrians at crossings? I think I've already talked about that.
You missed the outside the Islamic Center near Riverside is a site of lots of double parking. Will there be increased enforcement?
Yes, there will be.
And treatments to discourage
And
double
treatments, yes. And perhaps changes in parking regulations.
I can also help read it out if you want. Why can't the bike lane be in the middle of the street? And the answer we received that this would be difficult to have lanes cross traffic to enter and exit the middle lane, and signal phases would have to be added at intersections that cannot be currently accommodated. Why can't it be one lane on either side instead of bidirectional? This would reduce the width of the street because of the buffer zone required for safety, which would reduce the amount of parking allowed. Are the bus islands raised? Yes. Why can't the bike lanes be put on less traffic side streets? The traffic, bike and car will naturally go to 72nd Street. DOT puts the treatments on the natural place the traffic will go, and putting on a parallel street would require removal of parking on one side of that street, park to park. That's the full question.
Okay, next slide. And this is the resolution that passed the Transportation Committee 7-1.
Okay.
Two-
I think
7-1, I think.
we'll now go to the community, and the way that we will do this is the following. We received 80 in favor, people who wanted to speak, and 60 in opposition. However, because of the limited of this venue, we're not sure if everyone who signed up made it in. In fact, they definitely didn't, because the size of the venue doesn't accommodate that. So here's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna prioritize in person, and we're gonna have a line on the right here, which is in opposition to the plan. And we're gonna have a line here, which is in support of the plan. You don't have to rush. You don't have to rush. You can slowly wake your way up to speak. Okay. This side is opposition. Well, we already have, we'll switch it for you. This side is opposition and this side is in support, and we'll have people's. Yeah. She says she can't come over there. It's okay. This side is opposition. This side is in design, in approved. Right now, we already have a line queuing, so you can sit down for a little while and let people queue up. When you speak, you will announce your name so that we can check you off online. And again, our timekeepers will be keeping you to a strict 1 minute, and then you will lose access to the microphone. So you want to keep it to 1 minute very succinctly. Is that clear? Great. And while this is opposition right here, and this is in support.
But we're making one exception
Opposition,
for you.
support. Opposition, support. Okay, we're gonna, yeah.
Please say your name slowly and clearly. People often come up and they want to rush straight into their testimony, and then we can't make out your name. We can't check you off. It won't count against your time. Just say it clearly, slowly, we'll check you off, and then go into your testimony.
And Richard Ash would like me to remind you, which is a great point, if you are just going to say something in agreeing with someone who went before, you need not take the full minute. You could say, I agree with that person. Okay, we will.
One last thing, we have cards as well that will signal 30 seconds and 10 seconds. Please announce your name. Please hold all applause until the end. I know it's frustrating when I say, please keep all background noise to a minimum, but it's helpful to hear what the speakers have to say. And we appreciate everyone taking the time to come here. So we do want to hear what you have to say. We also will be taking her first.
I think we'll go him.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so we'll go first.
So because of the lion situation, we will be taking, and I'm so sorry, I'm not sure your name. We'll be taking your testimony first and then go with in favor and then go back to the side.
Okay.
There's also stairs. Please be careful and see where you're walking as well.
Better if it's.
Great.
Thank you. No, that's fine. No, it's just, thank you so much.
All right. And you're free to begin.
And please start with your name first. That won't count towards your time.
My name is Pamela Manassi. I'm a victim of an e-vehicle crash and am paralyzed on my right side. I live on the north side of 72nd Street. Protected bike lanes protect no one, as proven by the recent crash on the 59th Street Bridge. This new design on 72nd Street does not meet ADA compliancy and impossible for the disabled. I am disabled. I can certainly speak for myself. and the elderly, which I am quite, even though I don't look like it. To get safely into accessible rides is impossible and extremely dangerous. You're trying to run the city as if we're all 20. And even then, it's dangerous. All e-vehicles ride crazy fast in these lanes. Heavier city bikes, moped-like and bigger wheeled, all ride egregiously in these lanes,
10
supposedly
seconds.
created for bikes. These are not bikes, these are motorized vehicles, and they freely travel at greater
seconds.
speeds, going the wrong way, exhibiting such
And
dangerous
that's time.
behaviors.
Thank you.
Then the law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's time.
That's time.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. That's time.
That's time.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
That's time. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. We'll go to the next person on this side because we've made an exception for this person. So go for it. Okay. 1 minute starts now with your name first.
My name is Francis Barker, and I'm president of the board of the Dorchester Towers condo at Broadway between 68th and 69th. We have 683 apartments and 1,500 residents. I support the DOT redesign of West 72nd Street and appreciate the hard work of CB7 and DOT. The redesign of West 72nd Street has many merits, all supported by prior street redesigns in the city. It's a major New York City investment in our neighborhood. It is good for safety of pedestrians, cyclists, drivers, bus riders, delivery people, and merchants.
30 seconds.
It is good for business as local merchants welcome additional foot and bike traffic from Central Park West, from Central Park and Riverside Park. It is good for property values, both commercial and residential, as it recovers public space to create a valuable shared amenity. It is good for enforcement. Clear turning lanes, bus boarding, and delivery parking all
10
facilitate
seconds.
tough measures to prevent two-wheeled and automobile traffic violations. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to this gentleman here.
Yeah, hello. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. I'm totally opposed to this plan. I'm gonna say why, because this is not done by the community. This is done by Transportation Alternatives, Riders Alliance, the fake deliveristas, Los Nistos, and that fake journalist to your right, Sophie Leibowitz of Streets Blog NYC, a fake blog. Streets Blog is a fake blog. Let's keep this real. That this does nothing to help the community. All it does is line the pockets of the nonprofits that's for this plan. This hurts the community more than it helps. This divides the community more than it helps. Where are the deliveristas when about this Queensboro project?
30 seconds.
And let's keep it real that this is going to be another Queensboro Bridge incident in the future when this happens. And the blame is going to be Sophie Leibowitz of Streets Blog, Transo, Open Plans, and the fake deliveristas and Riders Line. So I'm opposed to this plan. This plan need to die. This is a disaster. This is a bad idea. This only benefit these fake organizations that's going to speak in favor of this project. So fuck Transo, fuck Open Plans, fuck Streets Blog, and fuck Sophie Leibowitz. Fuck Sophie Leibowitz.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
You can't say that.
We'll go to the next person.
Real quick, we can't use swears.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. We'll go to the next person. 1 minute.
Thank you. All right. My name is Cabe Franklin.
Make sure to speak loud.
All right. My name is Cabe Franklin. I've lived on West 73rd for a few years. I've lived in New York for 52 years. Next week, 53 years. I don't own a bike. I love to drive every chance I get. The thing I'll focus on is I've lived in a city before where bike lanes came in, and that informs my thinking about what I expect would happen here. The three things I would say in favor of the proposal are: first, I feel like this right sizes the amount of traffic lanes on 72nd to how it's actually used today. It is never 4 lanes full. The second thing I would say is for this to be safe, bike speeds have to come
30
down.
seconds.
I believe bike speeds will come down. And this third thing I would say is we all understand why retail worries about it. I think this would increase footfall, not decrease it. My point about having seen bike lanes come in before is that you get a lot more of the normal, average, law-abiding cyclist using the lane. That reduces speeds. And so I
10 seconds.
I understand why people are skeptical, but having seen it, that is what I think will happen, and that's why I'm strongly in favor.
Thank you. Thank you. No more clapping. That slows us down and fewer people will speak. So go to the next person right there. 1 minute.
Hi, my name is Jerry Holtz. I live on West 72nd Street, and I'm an avid cyclist. I applaud the idea of making cycling safer for people, but I think this plan is very ill-conceived. The proposed plan would inconvenience and jeopardize a very significant elderly population on West 72nd Street, and also would jeopardize the commercial area that supports us. A much better plan despite what was up here before, would be to reroute these bike lanes on two separate crosstown streets, West 72nd Street and 71st Street. 7,500 people live on West 72nd Street. The most that live on one of these other streets is around 2,500 people, and there are no commercial enterprises on these other streets. Also, two separate bike lanes is much safer
10
than having
seconds.
them right next to each other. And what I would encourage is that we go back to the drawing board and get more input from the community.
And that's time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll go to the next person here. 1 minute. No clapping.
Hi, I'm Hindi Schachter, and I represent two constituencies that must be part of this debate. First, I am the widow of someone who died in a traffic crash right near 72nd Street. As someone who has lost a wonderful husband to bad design, I have spent the last 10 years trying to get better design for
30 seconds.
everyone, for pedestrians, for cyclists, for car drivers. The 72nd Street reconstruction gives us a design that will keep other people from joining me in widowhood. Second, I am
10
part
seconds.
of the community of people in their 70s and 80s who cycle in this city. And boy, do we
Unfortunately, that's
safe-
Thank you. Thank you. We'll go to the next person here. 1 minute.
My name is Lester Wasserman, and I've lived on West 72nd Street for 51 years. My family and I have operated Tip Top Shoes for 86 years, employed hundreds of local New Yorkers over the years, and paid taxes in this community. This bike lane will shut me down, not inconvenience me, but shut me down. My customers don't browse online. They come in person, they park, they walk through that front door. You're physically placing a two-way high-speed traffic lane between my
30
customers and my entrance. A mother with a stroller, a senior citizen, a freight delivery. They now have to dodge e-bikes coming from both directions just to reach me. The moment that feels unsafe, they go elsewhere and they do not come back. I am not Amazon. I don't have a loading dock. I don't have a back entrance. The curb in my front of my
10
store is my
seconds.
warehouse. UPS, FedEx will not stop in an active bike lane. They will mark my deliveries as undelivered and move on.
And that's
Thank you.
time.
That's
Thank you.
time. We'll move to the next person here. 1 minute.
My name
Okay.
is Maggie Bradley.
Think time is
Your name again, please.
My name is Maggie Bradley.
okay. Thank you. Start the timer again.
Thank you.
Go for it.
My
Right
name
for
is
that.
Maggie Bradley. I've lived in the Upper West Side since 1976. And my husband and I each have worked in the Upper West Side. Our two kids went through schools at PS 87 and Booker T on 107th Street. And I would like to say that I'm very much in favor of having the redesign to help pedestrians, especially seniors. And I say this from my heart. This is my mother,
30 seconds.
Isabel Kane. She was killed by a car when she was crossing the street. And my son, her grandson, it was like explaining to him that she was just gone. Just was horrible. And to read the report about the
10 seconds.
violence that propelled her to the hood and then through the windshield. It's like nobody should have to
And
ever
that's time.
hear that.
Sorry.
Thank you. That's 1 minute. Let's go to the gentleman here.
Sure, Brett Levy. On behalf of a doorman who works in my building, I want to read a little note. He said, "I've been a doorman on West 72nd Street for 26 years. I've been biking to work for 26 years. West 72nd Street is one of the safest streets for bikers. This redesign will endanger thousands of hardworking doormen, building staff, residents, and seniors each day. Every day, he helps hundreds of residents into and out of vehicles. By removing 9 feet of curb, you're going to make it virtually impossible for him to do his job. You cannot protect residents from high-speed e-bikes. He is asking you to reconsider, because listening to him and the doormen and the staffs, you're listening to the first responders
30
of
seconds.
the neighborhood. When you think about, additionally, when you think about creating this enclosed two-way bike lane on the only two-way street in Manhattan, the first of its design, When
10
people
seconds.
are in the road and they don't feel safe, or if someone's going too fast, you're going to see the cyclists in both the two-way bike lane, but also cyclists and e-bikers are going to be on the regular traffic.
time.
So
Thank
you have
you.
plenty of extra.
We'll go here, 1 minute.
My name is Mary Beth Kelly. 20 years ago this month, my husband, Dr. Carl Henry Nacht, whose office was on West 65th Street, was killed while we were riding our bikes together. A truck turned into an intersection that was our right of way. The harm that traffic violence does to our community is that it takes New Yorkers away from us. I was widowed at 56 years old. His life ended at 56. This redesign is exactly what we
seconds.
need to save lives. The idea that you would rather save parking spots, and we know what this is all about, rather than save lives is embarrassing to me that my fellow New Yorkers would feel this way and would activate over something that if they just let it be, they would see
10
how much
seconds.
safer it is for everyone. One other thing, ask the merchants along Amsterdam Avenue.
That's
and
time.
All right, thank you. That's time. 1 minute on the right.
Hi, my name is Steven. I'm a cyclist, a parent, a West 72nd Street resident, and I'm here representing Mayfair Towers. I want to be clear, we support bike lanes and safer streets. Our concern is the design. Let's just talk numbers here. Mayfair Towers, 1,000 residents, including 600 seniors, 40 mobility impaired residents, over 47,000 annual pickup and drop-offs, more than 5,000 delivery and service visits, and nearly 100
30 seconds.
ambulance and ambulance trips each year. We're just one of 100 buildings on the street. We are absolutely concerned about the design. We're not looking to change except make safety first. And crossing 2 lanes, 9 feet to get to an Uber or Lyft is absolutely
seconds.
impossible if you're a senior or if you're a child or if you're a parent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stephen, sorry, what was your last name? Bruman. Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Irma Rosenblatt. This is my mother who was killed by a reckless driver in an area that had no protected bike lanes, no proper crosswalks. And I believe this design will help seniors. I'm a senior. I was just shopping at Tip Top and I could hardly walk down the block. So, you know, it was almost discouraging from going into the store.
30
because there were
seconds.
Too many people. But anyway, I fully support the proposal. Anything that will do to help our children, our families will be wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to the right here. 1 minute.
Hi, my name's Darren Galipter. I live on West 72nd Street. I am the father of a 4-year-old son. I've lived in Manhattan since the late 90s. It's never been more of a miserable experience to just be a pedestrian walking in this city now. You have to have your head on a swivel. And now it's coming to my front door. So if I want to put my 95-year-old aunt into an Uber car, that'll be fun. Let's just first
30
navigate the
seconds.
two-way bike superhighway. Or my 4-year-old son. I heard a lot about a buffer for the bicycles, but where's the buffer between the pedestrians walking on West 72nd Street and the two-way bike lane, where we know they'll be going very, very fast? And I have a question. If I'm allowed to ask a quick question?
You can ask, but you probably won't be answered.
All right. Well, I have no doubt. What
10 seconds.
What are your thoughts about what are your concerns and plans about enforcing the rules of the road for those bicyclists and e-bikes?
And that's time.
72nd Street.
Okay, that's time. We'll address that question when we do the summary. But step a little closer. People are having trouble hearing on Zoom, but yes.
Jeffrey Heller, 70 years old. I was hit by a criminally negligent driver while I was stopped at a traffic light on my duty as a nurse on my way to visit a patient. I visit patients all over the city by bicycle, by far the most efficient way to go. There was no protected bike lane, and my left lower leg was shattered into 5 pieces. 2 surgeries. I haven't fully recovered. It was years ago. There is no safe place for cyclists in this city, but it's safer when there's a bike lane.
30
I have two
seconds.
grandchildren who ride bicycles. They're both kindergartners. I can take them. I live on the west side, and I can take them down the Hudson River bike path carefully to visit parks, whatever. I can't take them to Central Park on their bikes because there's no safe way to go. I strongly support more safety. As a nurse, I promise to help people,
10
relieve
seconds.
their pain, take care of them, and that's what the street redesign is going to do. I favor it.
Thank you. 1 minute and step a little closer. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mei Yi, and I'm a resident of 220 Riverside Boulevard, home to more than 450 families, over 1,000 residents, including children, seniors, people with mobility challenges. I'm here to oppose relocating the M72 bus stop to the only entrance of our building. There is no meaningful public benefit. Cyclists already can access Riverside Park directly at West 72nd Street and Riverside Drive. This proposal solves no real problems while creating significant burdens for hundreds of families. A bus stop directly in front of our
30
entrance
seconds.
would obstruct essential services, emergency vehicles. This also creates crowding, congestion, pollution, emissions. At minimum, there should be a complete study redone, which includes our impact for our building. There's no public benefit.
Please keep up the applause to the end.
Imposing unnecessary burdens on more than 415
seconds.
families. We just want to come in and out of our homes safely. We urge you to reject this proposal.
Thank you.
That's time. Thank you.
1 minute. Step closer.
My name is Sproul Love. I'm a parent. I'm in favor of this bike lane because when I was raising my kids and teaching them to ride bikes, there was no safe place to do that. My son went to PS9. My daughter went to ethical culture. I want to echo the previous comment that you can't get in between Riverside Park and Central Park, which are the only nice places on the Upper West Side now to ride with a child. And so I just want to say, please approve this project so parents like me can teach their kids to cycle and get in between safe places to ride. Thank you.
Thank you. Next slide.
If you're a board member online, but you can't be promoted, raise your hand and we will promote you. 1 minute. Go for it.
I'm not going to read what I wrote because it's already been said, but who is going to use these lanes? It is not the delivery people. The delivery people are riding in the middle of the street. The professionals are not going to use this lane. So who is it? It's the bike touring groups. Where are the regulations for them? When they take 20 people down the street and they have one instructor, that is what is going to kill us. And I oppose this totally. What I want to see is
30
cameras,
seconds.
cameras, cameras, cameras. So people will be held accountable. And I want the bikes licensed.
Can you say your name, please? Sorry.
Could you say your name, please?
Oh,
What's your name?
My name is Nadine.
Nadine. Okay, 1 minute.
My name is Laura Sachs, and I live on West 72nd Street, and I bike regularly on West 72nd Street, not as a deliverista, not as a tour group, not in spandex. I am using bicycling to get around the city as the most efficient way, and I'm afraid to bike home on my own street. The double parking is difficult to navigate, and this plan I support so fully because it improves safety for all users, not just cyclists, but pedestrians. And I urge the CB7 and
30
DOT to
seconds.
move forward with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute. Go.
My name is Julie Harvey, and I'm here against my doctor's orders. I live and work on West 72nd Street. I have a concussion just from 2.5 weeks ago after a cyclist ran a stop sign and crashed into me on West 72nd Street in the park. I thought I was dead. All cyclists run that stop sign. Nobody obeys the law. Cyclists don't stop for people in the crosswalk. They ride straight through them. They yell at people to get out of their way. People have to run for their lives to cross the street now.
30 seconds.
Horses have been slammed into, including police horses, illegal e-cyclists speeding, doing wheelies, next to small children riding their little bikes. By the way, bikes are the chosen method to evade the police these days. Criminals zoom through the park for easy escape, and many will end up on crossing at West 72nd Street. Central Park was designed to keep vehicle traffic unnoticeable to the public who are quietly strolling. Now the park is a highway for private businesses to zoom their...
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go across to 1 minute. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Now time. Okay, 1 minute.
Jim, is this fine?
That's good.
Also James, 74 years old, resident of Upper West Side since 1982. West 72nd is popular, in case you didn't know, with Upper West Side cyclists like me, because it is the best way to get across town, better than moving to alternate streets. We will continue to ride on 72nd, whether or not there is a bike lane, but we want the street to be safe. Riding in a
30 seconds.
Riding in a protected lane is safer than riding in a lane with vehicles. To the members of CB7, if you value the safety of your constituents, please vote yes on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. 1 minute.
Yes, my name is Maxine Dissetta. Representing the 600 petitioners who oppose the Park to Park 103 redesign of West 103rd. That project narrowed an already narrow street to 9.5 feet, creating obstacles for emergency vehicles. Since then, there have been 2 fires between Broadway and West End Avenue, including one that claimed the life of an 83-year-old woman. Residents in FTY Battalion 11 repeatedly raised concerns, but CB7 ignored them. Now DOT is proposing the same mistake on West 72nd Street. Narrowing the roadway to 1 vehicle lane in each direction will not only impede emergency response vehicles, but force residents, seniors, and people with disabilities to cross the 2 lanes increasingly used by speeding, unlicensed e-bike traveling bikes in both
5
directions.
seconds.
Residents, DOT and CB7
And
should
that's
listen
time.
to the
Thank you, Maxine.
business.
Thank you, Maxine.
Thank you, Maxine.
Okay, let's go to 1 minute. Thank you, Maxine. Let's go 1 minute.
Yes, good evening. My name is Dr. Rosamond Giannoutsos. I am also an octogenarian, actually, 81, but I'm a doctor who does house calls and some in this neighborhood. And I treat people, I'm a neuropsychologist who have been injured by severe injuries caused by often traffic violence. You don't want to see this happening. We have to do everything we can to prevent it. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the DOT. I've seen their designs
30 seconds.
throughout the city and how this has rationalized and organized, and they are responsive. All the points that people are making were responded to in that slide with all the questions and answers. And we need to do this. Please vote yes.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next person.
My name is Susan Simon. I'm a 45-year resident of New York. I'd like to say that it is very sad when anyone dies from a car or from an e-bike. Lisa Baines was killed by an e-bike. And Priscilla Loke was killed by a city bike, e-bike. And Pamela Greitzer, who is here,
30 seconds.
is now paralyzed on one side of her body by a e-bike. So there's enough injury to go around. But this is a really bad plan. And I will tell you that
10
in San
seconds.
Francisco, a similar plan was tried. It's a failure. And they are going back to the drawing.
And that's time. Thank you very much. Next in favor.
Hi, good evening. My name is Ross Eustace, and I support the 72nd Street redesign. I've lived in New York City since 2004, and I'm father of James, my 8-year-old son. One of our favorite things to do is ride our bikes in Central Park. We live nearby, and the park has become a place where we spend real quality time together. The problem is that if we want to ride to the Hudson River Greenway, there's no safe, obvious way for a child to get there. We are often forced to walk our bikes for long stretches because the alternative is riding in traffic. I've been hit by a car 3 times while cycling, despite never being at fault. The last crash required shoulder surgery after a driver made an illegal left turn across a double yellow line. If riding on open city streets is unsafe for me, it's certainly unsafe for my 8-year-old son.
And that's time. Next opposed?
Hi, my name is Loretta LaRusso, and I live at 150 West End Avenue in Lincoln Towers. And I am opposed to the plan because I find that there is really no mention of how emergency vehicles are going to operate once you got 2 bike lanes, especially for the fire department, where their ladders cannot reach across 2 lanes. So how exactly is that going to work if you're on the 2nd floor on the north side, one of those buildings? Are you going to die because the fire department can't reach you? I would like that to be addressed in the plan. Also, on page 27, there is
30
no
seconds.
right turn onto the north side of West End. That may create a traffic problem for those people who are using West End to go to the George Washington Bridge. I would like to have that addressed as well. I also would like to know why we are going ahead with it
10
before
seconds.
Community Board 8 has even had a plan presented to it. I thought this was supposed to be all along 72nd Street. I would like them to vote
And that's
first.
time. Thank you very much. Next in favor?
Hello, my name is Henry Reinhardt. Many of you know me as the owner of Henry's on 105th and Broadway for 20 years. It's great to see Community Board 7 in action. And I just want to strongly encourage you to endorse this as the best-in-class safety for all pedestrians, creating the lifeblood of our retail community, which is foot traffic. I live on a bidirectional bike lane on 5th Avenue. My doormen love it. My super loves it, and it works. Please,
No back
don't-
noise, please.
please don't interrupt
Second.
me. Please don't interrupt me. And I just want to let you know that before we get to this, we should talk about our civil behavior and remember that children are here and are watching us and listening to us. Talking over, failing to listen, ignoring
10 seconds.
expertise, and swearing are not suitable for our community. And this is an incredible
And that's time.
opportunity for our.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next opposed?
Okay.
Steve Harris, 73rd and Broadway in the Ansonia.
Sorry, can you say your name again, please?
Steve Harris,
Thank you.
73rd and Broadway. My wife and I use the transportation system on 72nd Street. We have been longtime supporters of bike lanes in New York City, but this plan ignores the facts. In 2008, Hunter College did a study. They found that over 50% of cyclists do not stop for the traffic signals. There is nothing in this plan that encourages people to stop for traffic signals, to slow down at intersections. There's no speed bumps.
30 seconds.
And there's no rails along the islands where people have to wait for the bus. This plan really needs to go back to the drawing board and put some priority on the lane right down the middle of the street for the bikes and separate pedestrians
10 seconds.
from bicycle traffic, which is really motorized traffic by and large in disguise in this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next in favor?
Hi, my name's Tom Buffkin. I live at 71st and West End Avenue. I've lived there for 22 years. I'm a bicyclist and a pedestrian. I don't own a car. I ride up and down 72nd Street almost every day. It's chaotic and dangerous. And I think the proposal in front of you will improve safety, not just for bicyclists, but for pedestrians.
30 seconds.
And so I strongly encourage you to adopt this proposal and let's get it going. Thanks.
Thank you. Next opposed?
My name is Luz Mari Harris. I live in the Ansonia. I believe this proposal is dangerous for the senior and disabled community in the Upper West Side. I experienced an event where I tried to get out of the bus and the bus did not stop close to the curb and a bicycle running that small gap and ran into me. I think that the other thing that needs to be done is
30 seconds.
it is imperative that the laws of the traffic be applied to the bikers. They are unaccountable. They do not stop for pedestrian or anybody, and this has not been a priority. That needs to be done. In Amsterdam,
seconds.
bicycles really work with the pedestrians. Here, it doesn't work.
And that's time. Thank you. Next in favor?
My name is Andy Rosenthal. I've lived on the Upper West Side for 40 years. I am clearly a senior. I walk, bike, and drive in the district. I use 72nd Street nearly every day. I like money here, do not love e-bikes. But tonight's vote is not about e-bikes. Tonight's vote is about, do you support a safe streets redesign that most of all will benefit seniors? The data that we saw from New York City DOT over many, many, many years of
30
study of
seconds.
bike lanes has shown a 39% reduction in serious injuries to seniors. Senior pedestrians will benefit the most from this. The stats are, you know, when you don't like the answer, you blame the stats, okay? There are 170 car lanes on the Upper
10
West Side
seconds.
crosstown. We're asking for one of those 170 lanes that are dedicated to cars. Please, no abstentions, because you know abstentions.
And
is a
that's
no.
time. Thank you. Next opposed?
Hi, my name is Jody Liss. I live on 72nd Street. You know, I used to work for the World Bank, and we built beautiful plans on paper, and they never worked without community buy-in, and that's what's lacking here. Robert Moses made the same mistake in this town, and he was undone by another river-to-river project. You cannot know the street as intimately as people who actually live there. And to the people who bike, I say, this is not about biking. We want you to be safe. We just hate this
30
plan.
seconds.
This plan puts at risk our most vulnerable people, threatened by bikes that are more dangerous than cars. Especially, it will be difficult for the blind to navigate the bi-directional bike lanes. Ambulances and fire engines will have to park in the middle of the street on the Meridian. The DOT did not reach out to us for
10
this.
seconds.
They should have.
Next in favor?
Hey, everybody, Barack Friedman. I'm a physician. I work on the Upper West Side. I cycle to work. Many of the physicians and hospital staff cycle to work. It's how we get there. The city bike stations outside the hospitals are some of the busiest in the city. There's a recent study from the Journal of Neurosurgery that's been getting a lot of press from NYU. Just want to read you 2 sentences about, from the study. It's about bicycle, e-bike safety, and pedestrian safety. And it says only 3% of Manhattan's bike lanes are protected. And in 2023, 94% of cycling fatalities occurred on roads without protected bike lanes. Infrastructure redesign, including separated lanes and intersection protections, may offer the most immediate opportunity to reduce neurosurgical tumor burden. So I say to you, the community board members, why did you get on the community board? And I think it's to
10
make a
seconds.
difference. I think you want to make a difference, and here's your opportunity. This is the most significant contribution you can make to reduce trauma. Thank you.
That's time. Thank you. Next opposed.
Al Salzano, I've lived on 72nd for 30 years. More congestion is not a success for this project. There's a point of interest that the Uptown bus that's coming up, the 72nd Street bus makes a left and goes west on 72nd. Its first stop is the Dakota right at the corner. During that stop, unloading and loading passengers, since the bus is in lane and the traffic behind it is in lane, that traffic is in the intersection.
30 seconds.
That light will change, the bus will take off, and the traffic congestion in the intersection will be a disaster. But the point is that will happen every 15 minutes because the bus comes every 15 minutes. It is just not possible to solve this problem.
10 seconds.
It's not a solution.
Thank you. Next in favor?
Hello, board members, neighbors, and fellow Upper West Siders. My name is Rachel Grosso, and I work as a transportation planner focused on complete streets. As part of my work throughout the United States, I collaborate with communities just like ours, where people of different ages, abilities, and backgrounds love to live, work, and play. I do this work to plan, design, construct, and measure the impacts of roadway redesign projects like this one. About a decade ago, NYC DOT released the report, The Economic
30
Benefits of
seconds.
Sustainable Streets. This report and the many that have come after have proven time and again that complete streets improvements like those planned for West 72nd Street increase safety for all road users, increase foot traffic for all businesses, and increase bus reliability. Thank you for voting yes on the West
10
72nd
seconds.
Street redesign.
Next opposed.
Hi, my name is Chris Roberts. I live on West 72nd Street. I've lived there for 30 years. I do have a question regarding the statistics. You're talking about you're talking about the number of people who have been injured, pedestrians. You're not saying how many of the pedestrians have been injured with accidents with cyclists. The other question I have is you're talking about Inwood and you're using Inwood as an example. From even your photos up there, Inwood is primarily 1- and 2-story buildings, it looks like primarily. 72nd is
30 seconds.
anything from 35 down to maybe 16. The other thing is, why are the west side lanes in the 70s not being used? Why have you not promoted them more to get them used? And the other thing is, how are you going to address the parking? It looks like you're making it all timed parking now, except in
10
the
seconds.
last block by the Riverside Drive itself.
Thank you. Next in favor.
Ira Gershenhorn, a senior, 73 years old, 38 years at least on the Upper West Side. I use my bicycle for shopping on the Upper West Side. This plan is great, far safer than what I'm used to, and I need new pairs of shoes.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Hello, my name is Tad Gross. I'm a native New Yorker from the Upper West Side, been here for 70 long years. I wanted to say this is not about safety. If it was, the people who were proposing this would have supported helmet laws. They would support Priscilla's law. They would have stood up and stopped 80,000 Uber and Lyft vehicles from being put on the streets. So this is not about safety. Anybody here can go to CrashMapper on .com or whatever the web URL is and look up the stats. The fact is there's never been a problem on the Upper West Side. In 2013, there were 366 crashes and 2 deaths. In 2025, 359 crashes and 4 dead. There's been 0 changes despite all of the changes you've done. You ruined West End, you ruined Central Park West, and now you're going to ruin 72nd. There isn't a single program the DOT has done with transportation alternatives. That's how simple it is.
Thank you. Next in favor.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Marcello. I often ride my bike across 72nd Street to get to Central Park. I've been living and riding in New York City for nearly 20 years. And in addition, I have a PhD in urban planning from Columbia University. I'm currently on the faculty of the Department of Urban Policy and Planning at Hunter College. A recurring theme in the classes I teach is that policy and planning decisions should be based on facts and evidence. And when it comes to designing streets with pedestrians, cyclists, and our most vulnerable users in mind, we are lucky. We need not be pioneers or unknown and test
30 seconds.
planning solutions. We don't need to do this because the facts are in. Street redesigns like the one proposed on West 72nd Street saved lives. Beyond safety, another theme in my classes is how we can co-create a just and equitable city where every resident, regardless of their age or ability, can
10
thrive and live a happy life. With equity and facts in mind, I support this project because I believe in fact-based policymaking, and I believe that together
That's
we can
time. Thank
co-create
you.
a
Next
just
opposed.
My name is Sandy Ashendorf, and as a resident of 72nd Street and Riverside Drive and an avid daily cyclist, I'm acutely aware of the landscape which that presentation did not accurately reflect. Safety is paramount, but this proposal will compromise emergency response times for ambulances, fire trucks, police vehicles, and first responders in a corridor heavily populated by seniors, children, and families. It will require those people and people with disabilities and mobility challenged individuals to navigate
30 seconds.
active bike lanes traveling in opposite directions in order to safely cross the street. It's interesting to observe that many of the speakers on this side of the room live or work on West 72nd Street and therefore know the facts, Whereas the people on that side of the room are maybe Upper West Siders with, I think, one exception to a 72nd Street
10
person.
seconds.
So, welcome to the neighborhood. I applaud the DOT for trying to improve streets and make it safer. This plan does not
And
do
that's
that.
time. Thank you. Before we go to next in favor, please don't interrupt the speakers when they're speaking. Thank you.
My name is George Corral, and I was born and raised on the Upper West Side, where I still live today. I spent much of my life on 72nd Street. As a child, I played baseball at the baseball center, and today I get groceries at Trader Joe's for my family. For as long as I can remember, however, I felt uneasy crossing the wide, chaotic intersection at 72nd Street and Broadway. I support this redesign because I believe it will make the street safer for everyone who uses it. I am not a cyclist, and I've never biked on 72nd Street. My support comes from the safety benefits this proposal will provide for all residents. Shorter crossing distances and a more predictable street design will reduce conflicts and make the intersection safer, particularly for the most vulnerable Upper West Siders. Thank you for your time, and I strongly support the proposed bike lane and street redesign. Thank you.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Hi, I'm Sam Kingsley, and I live at Riverside Drive and West 72nd Street, and I'm speaking specifically about that intersection. The plan is based on incorrect statements of facts and is incomplete. I agree with the opponent who said we should base this on facts. On page 34, the heat map of the double parking shows almost no double parking at that intersection. And yet last Friday, I counted 96 double and triple parked
30
taxis
seconds, please.
and taxi vehicles, and that's not unusual. I've got the photos to show that, and I pass those over to whoever's the head of the transportation committee so that you can verify it. At 96, it was a real number. Furthermore, there's no indication that the
10
plan
seconds.
the plan has been reviewed with the NYPD, and the NYPD is going to enforce laws, or the sanitation department is going to do anything about the trash bins. That
And
they're
that's
gonna install.
time. Thank you. Next in favor.
Hello, my name is Seth Hughes. The 72nd Street bike lane will provide a vital, safe connection between Central Park and the Hudson River Greenway, as well as the north-south bike lanes already on Columbus and Amsterdam avenues. The Upper West Side currently has no crosstown protected bike lanes. Protected bike lanes have been shown to improve safety not only for cyclists, but for pedestrians, including seniors as well. As the presentation stated earlier, since this exact design was
30
implemented
seconds.
on Dyckman Street in Upper Manhattan, no pedestrians have been injured by bikes or e-bikes there. I implore the community board to support this common sense redesign of 72nd Street that will improve safety for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Hi, my name's Peter Iannuzzi, and I'm here to talk about a bus. So there's the bus stop that's going to be moved from Riverside Boulevard to 70th. I really live right in that building there. There's already a bus stop on West End and 70th. So you're going to have a bus stop and then another bus stop at the end of the block. And if you take away the bus stop on Riverside Boulevard, now Riverside Park South is beautiful. It's amazing. There's not going to be any bus stop that's going to let people who have trouble crossing a street to get to that park. They're going to have to cross some sort of stop. There's no lights.
30 seconds.
So if you move that bus to 70th Street, everybody's going to have to cross. If the bus stop was moved, even if it's moved down to 67th and Riverside Boulevard, it's going to be closer to another bus stop already, which is on 66th, but it will allow people to be closer to the entrance of that park and allow people with mobility issues to have a door that opens up right on the sidewalk where the park
10
is.
seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next in favor.
Hello, my name is Pierce Brownstone, and I'd like to respond to the previous question regarding who will use this bike lane. I will. I live on 73rd and Broadway, but I work on the east side. This project is a matter of steps from my door. I typically take the train to work each day, and it takes me 45 minutes. If I were to bike to work, my commute would be 12 minutes. The route is almost entirely on protected bike lanes, the only exception being this very stretch of road. I repeat, there is infrastructure in place to protect me as a cyclist for my entire commute to and from work,
30 seconds.
except for the stretch in my very own neighborhood along 72nd Street. I don't bike on this road right now because it is not safe. I bike for the planet's health, for my own health, because it is reliable, fast, and enjoyable, among a myriad of other reasons. Unfortunately, biking in the city rarely feels safe. That is why I support this redesign, because it will protect Upper West Side
10
residents
seconds.
like me who only avoid this corridor currently because there is no infrastructure in place to protect us. Thank you.
Thank you. That's time. Next opposed.
Hi, Julie Fancy. I am asking for the change of the element of the bus, moving the bike
Please.
lane, moving the bus stop to the West 70th Street outside the main entrance of 220. As a resident of this building for the last 5 years, I'm concerned of the negative impact this would have in my neighborhood and community, which is in this building. This is a highly active building with many residents of all ages coming in and out of the building and needing access to cars and taxis, which are conveniently located outside the lobby door. Having a bus stop would make the residents, and some of them with difficulty walking, have to go further out of their way. A bus would also add exhaust fumes into the lobby area of the building, which is space we utilize for events in the building to help create a
30
community
seconds.
within our space with units for over 400 spaces. Additionally, in the winter, especially during the windy days, this particular corner of West 70th and Riverside Boulevard becomes a wind tunnel. It does not seem like an ideal spot to have a bus stop, a bench, or a bench there. Riverside Boulevard
10
is with
seconds.
the building entrance to the lobby of West 70th is a high traffic building with many visitors, workers, movers, and deliveries into our location. Having an entrance blocked off with a bus stop would negatively impact us.
Thank you. Next opposed. Next in favor.
Good evening. My name is Scott Koskin, and I'm a resident of CB7. I'm someone who walks, bikes, and takes public transit. And for me, 72nd Street currently feels unsafe and stressful with rampant speeding and double parking. People on bikes are forced to share space with fast and unpredictable car traffic, and pedestrians have very long crossing
Could you
distances.
speak close to the microphone, please?
Yeah. The data is clear that a protected bike lane would make 72nd Street safer and more organized and more predictable for everyone while filling a large gap in Manhattan's crosstown protected bike network. This redesign would also encourage me to actually
30
spend time
seconds.
on 72nd Street and visit the local businesses there. The vast majority of those accessing the street do not do so by car, and the rebalancing of street space will create a street that works for all users, not just car drivers. I strongly support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Berman. I live on West 72nd Street between Central Park West and Columbus, and I'm opposed. I think we're dealing with alternative facts. I know there's been talk about making this fact-based, but the facts are alternative facts. They're not real. The pictures presented in the presentation, they show regular bicycles, regular cycles. They show no mopeds. They should show no e-scooters. They show no e-bikes. And we should, the term bicycle lanes is a misnomer as it exists on the Upper West Side. It's
30 seconds.
dominated by e-bikes traveling over 20 miles per, capable of going over 20 miles per hour and traveling over 15 miles per hour. Same with scooters. The injuries resulting for that, everybody knows people who've been hurt. My daughter was injured in a crosswalk by a speeding e-bike. She had the green light. The
10
speeding,
seconds.
the e-bike just went right through the light. Her friend had to go to the emergency room recently because
And that's time.
he was
Thank
spiking.
you. Next in favor.
Christine Chen, I'm a physician. I live on 72nd Street. I bike to work almost every day across town. And so I really think that having a protected bike lane is going to be not only safe for me, but all the other commuters that are out there, early morning traffic. I think it's going to be really great for everyone.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Hi, my name is Bonnie Gerard. I'm a victim of an e-bike accident where an e-bike went into me on the sidewalk while I was waiting for a light to change. I had a fractured tibia. I had stitches, a concussion. I almost died. Anytime that we have bike lanes, we need to have Priscilla's Law passed so that e-bikes can be licensed, registered, and insured for the safety of all pedestrians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next in favor.
Hello, my name is Emily Smith. I'm an Upper West Side resident, and I feel strongly that there will only be peace and order on the road when everyone has a piece of the road. Okay? The status quo highway-like space allocation on 72nd Street today just doesn't make sense for the dense and dynamic context of a vibrant urban neighborhood like ours. I strongly support this proposal. I thank everyone for their time, and I hope the board will vote in favor of this proposal because I believe it will improve safety for everyone on 72nd Street. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next opposed.
Hi, my name is Carl Wojtak, and I've lived on 73rd Street in Amsterdam for the past 36 years. In the summer of 1981, I was riding my bike down Broadway when I was hit from behind by a car racing through a yellow light. Ironically, I landed on the pavement right beneath the marquee of the Symphony Space. I'm still an avid biker, and I'm all for bike lanes, so long as they take the safety of every resident into account. This redesign poses serious safety risks as well as negatively impacts dozens of
30 seconds.
retailers. There's been a marked increase in traffic at 72nd Street over the years, and the proliferation of e-bikes and scooters adds even more hazard to thousands of elderly and mobility challenged residents. The West Side link to the Hudson River Greenway will lead to an increase in bike traffic past the Eleanor Roosevelt statue down an already busy
10
pathway
seconds.
shared by dog walkers and families traveling to Little League and soccer games. Signs telling cyclists to slow down mostly go unheeded. The DOT and community board should visit this
And
path
that's
on any
time.
given.
Thank you very much. Next in favor?
Hello, I'm Andrew Hyatt. I'd like to address a few points I've heard. One is that about emergency vehicles. I just happened to be on Delancey Street today, and an ambulance was using the bike lane. The bike lanes help emergency vehicles maneuver when nothing else can.
Please
I saw
up
it.
the
You don't
speakers.
think I saw it? I saw it. Okay, so another point is the current configuration of the 72nd Street and many of our streets encourage chaos. I don't like e-bikes zooming through and doing chaotic things. No one likes it.
30 seconds.
Pedestrians have the right of way. Pedestrians are king. And to ensure that, we need a dedicated space for bikes to go so that we say, this is how bikes should behave on this street. This is where they go. It's not every man for themselves. This is how traffic is behaved. That's the
10
first
seconds.
step to orderly streets, as my previous speaker said. So thank you. I strongly support this bike lane.
Thank you very much. Next opposed?
Hi, my name is Peter Shaw. I live on 155 West 73rd Street. I vehemently oppose this bike lane because of one reason. It is going to hurt and kill people. You're creating a challenge. It's a very, very basic mathematical thing. You're creating a very big challenge for people to race across two lanes of bikes, and then all of a sudden,
One second.
Sorry, continue.
I'd like my time back.
Yes.
Anyway, it's creating a challenge. It's creating a challenge for the police. I went to the police. I asked them. They said it's going to be challenged because
30
I just
seconds.
stood there and watched the police come down the street about 80 miles an hour when they have to go back uptown. They come down Columbus. They make a hard right. They hit 72nd Street. They zoom down to Amsterdam and they cut back uptown. The fire department does the same thing to go back to different calls. And that is going to screw up their timing with double parking. I looked at cars. From what you showed me earlier,
10
there's no
seconds.
room for them to do anything. They can do nothing. It's a struggle. It's a fight. And it's going to kill people. It will kill them. And if you haven't had a chance, just for one more thing, if you haven't
And
had a
that's
chance,
time. Thank you very much.
That's
That is
time.
time.
Thank you. Let's
Next
go
in
to
favor?
the next
That's
person.
time.
Next person on the right.
favor.
There you go.
My name is John Noble.
Please hold all applause.
My name is John Noble, and I in favor of this proposal. I feel like that once you install protected bike lanes, you decrease the chaos, and every bike lane that is protected that has infrastructure on the other side of the bike lane on the street side shows that it's decreases crossing time for pedestrians and improves their safety. As an educator, I think that also we should be sending a signal to our children that we want to create safe spaces for them to bike safely across
30 seconds.
anywhere in the city so that they can take control of their lives and be empowered to travel through the city on bicycles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next opposed?
Good evening. My name is David Kupferberg, member Passengers United and a Manhattan resident. I am not against bike lanes, but I don't like the misguided effort by the NYC DOT and the bike lobby to shove bike lanes down the throats of our communities. Bear in mind that, like most wide crosstown thoroughfares, West 72nd Street has a bus route, the M72. People, especially seniors, the blind, the wheelchair bound, would have to cross this bike lane in order to access the new westbound bus stops. And if people who fall into one of these groups
30
is leaving
seconds.
the bus, if you think it is already dangerous to cross 72nd Street, try crossing in front of an active two-way bike lane. Before buses, people had to access the trolley in the middle of the street. It was dangerous then, it's dangerous now. Shame on the NYC DOT, and for those who favor the directional bike lanes, shame on you.
Thank you very much. Next in favor, please hold all applause. Please hold all applause. Next in favor.
My name is Jason Lowenhar. I've lived on the Upper West Side for over 30 years. Just two observations. When I'm functioning as a pedestrian, I find it so much safer to cross the street with a bike lane because I know where to look for the bikes. They're not just everywhere. And when I'm riding as a cyclist in a protected bike lane, I am a safer, better cyclist because I can look out for pedestrians and don't have to be turning around watching out for cars all the time. Please support this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So
Next opposed.
we scheduled 50 minutes. We're at 54. I don't know how this happened, but we have 6 people left on each side. I don't know how that happened, but we'll do that. Then we'll maybe go to 1 or 2 people online, and then we'll be wrapping up and moving to the board members. So next up.
Yes, hello, evening, Roxanne. Several years ago, DOT reduced Bronxdale Avenue in the Bronx from 4 travel lanes into 2 lanes to install parking protected bike lanes. This has only made this area less safer. Teachers are now forced to leave their classrooms to help children exit school buses because motorcycles and e-bikes are speeding down that bike lane. The lane reduction has also increased congestion. When cars and delivery trucks stop along the corridors, the 2 travel lanes are merged into 1 lane where opposite cars are driving on opposite direction on the same travel lane. This creates traffic
30
conflicts,
seconds.
delays, and additional safety concern. This has resulted in backup, dirty air emission, has also created an unsafe environment for pedestrians and also has impacted the businesses negatively. I'd like to go straight to that. Transportation Authority is not for safety, but for their corporate donors, because they have used our
seconds.
community and infiltrate our community boards to go against the will of the people. And that's environmental injustice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Next in favor, please hold all applause. Next in favor.
Thank you. I'm Daniel Sutton. I support the redesign. I think it's good. And emergency vehicles can use bike lanes if they need to go anywhere, so that won't be a safety thing. But yes to the redesign. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next opposed.
Hi, my name is Valerie Mason. I'm the president of the East 72nd Street Neighborhood Association, and I'm also the chair of Community Board 8. And I walked across the park today to be with you all. A couple of things I just want to say. Number one, in the slideshow, it said that you couldn't have a bike pairing. We have a bike pairing on the east side, right below 72nd Street, on 70 and 71st Street. That bike pairing has been in effect for 10 years when the DOT told us that there was
30
really
seconds.
no good reason to have bike lanes on a main artery, which is 72nd Street. I just want to say, please, you're hearing in the audience tonight people who are not used to, people who are opposed to this bike lane, who are not used to coming to these meetings. You have people who want you to vote yes on this. They
10
have
seconds.
nicely designed buttons. They're very organized. They're very well trained. And you need to take that into account when you're thinking about this tonight. I urge
And
you
that's time.
to
Thank you
listen
very
and
much.
vote no.
Next
Thank
in favor. Please hold all applause. Please hold all applause until the end. Please hold all applause.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brian Oberman. I lived on the Upper West Side for 22 years. Referring to what people said earlier about ambulances, I did see an ambulance using a bike lane on 9th Avenue maybe 10 years ago, and I'm surprised they don't use it more often. Also, I just wanted to point out that in the past 5 years, 9 pedestrians have been killed in Community Board 7. Every single one was killed by a car or truck. An e-bike has never killed a pedestrian in CB7's recorded history. An e-bike has never killed a
30
child
seconds.
in the history of New York
Please don't
City.
interrupt the speakers.
I'm a cyclist. I'm also a pedestrian. I ride the bus. I ride the subway. I use 72nd Street more as a pedestrian than a cyclist, and I think it'll be safer when it's narrowed for make it easier to cross the street. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next opposed.
Okay, and no more people join the lines. That's it. I see the last 2 gentlemen there. Okay, go for it.
So my name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. Okay, Valerie from EVSA, E-Vehicle Safety Alliance, was not allowed to come inside today. Why is that? And the 72nd Street bike lane, you know who that's going to benefit? Uber, Lyft, because all these people are lazy, all these young people, to get their food. All right? And for all you young people in this room, someday you're all going to get older, and guess what? The younger generation is going to screw you guys over. Okay? Karma's
30
coming to all of
seconds.
you. Okay? That's what's going to happen. And it's a damn shame that you got people from Transalt bringing in people who don't live in the community to testify. That's wrong. And this is a fire hazard, what you guys did tonight, the way y'all set this up. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. And I hope people sue the city when they get hit by bikes.
10 seconds.
The community board, too. All the community board members. It's a damn shame. Damn shame.
Thank you. That's time. Please hold all applause. Next in favor.
Hi, my name is Bill Amstutz. I've been living on the Upper West Side for 30 years.
cycling all that time in all 5 boroughs. And I want to thank the community board for all the work you've done to make it safer during that time. I can tell you 30 years ago was not fun, and it was not, well, it was fun, but it was not safe to ride in New York. So I'm here to say thank you and support the 72nd Street lane. I will say on 71st,
30 seconds.
the crosstown lane that was brought up earlier, that's not a protected lane. I've been over there. That's some paint in the street, and that doesn't help us. And I've also ridden on the Dykeman Street before the lane and after the lane, and I'll have to tell you that there's no comparison. It's so much safer up there now. Thank you very much for all you do, and go Knicks.
Thank you. Next opposed.
Yeah, hi, my name's Cliff, and I've been to just about all these meetings. I work at Acker Wines on 72nd Street. Our business can be very impacted by this. And at almost every meeting, we've been told that there was either a survey or there was going to be a survey. I was at the meeting at Rutgers Church with Gail Brewer, and they said that before this meeting tonight, they were going to go and survey all the businesses and get our opinion and have it impact the proposal. No survey. I've talked to 3 other
30
businesses
seconds.
on the block, no survey. It's just lip service, and it's not fair because we're trying to do this the right way. We're not saying we're against bike lanes or anything else. We're just trying to make it so that we can all get along well. And if the businesses leave, it's going to hurt the neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Next in favor.
Kate Brockwell. I'm here to support the safety redesign of 72nd Street. 8 years ago, I was living on West End at 77th when I was hit as a pedestrian running errands downtown. I suffered serious leg, knee, ankle, wrist, and forearm injuries and have dealt with PTSD since. I was in the crosswalk and had the light. I'd stopped on the curb. I'd looked both ways before starting to cross. I was a cautious pedestrian before this. 3 of my great-grandmothers were killed by cars. I was about 2/3 of the way to the
30
median
seconds.
when a driver making a left turn drove into my left leg. A 4,000-pound sedan. I felt the muscles and nerves and ligaments and fascia tear. I remember it all. Redesigns like this slow speeds and make streets safer for all road users. The cost of inaction is too high. I have the scars.
Thank you very much. Next opposed.
My name is Millie Casese. I live on West 72nd Street for close to 50 years now in the front of the building on a lower floor. And I can safely say that I am just as good or better an observer of how our street works, better than transportation alternatives, better than Streetopia. And there are definitely, as other people have said, alternative facts floating around. I have not heard one person discuss the fact that there are over 20,000 residents that live on 72nd Street from Central Park West to Riverside. No one has spoken about that. The street, yes, it's double parked, but it works.
30
Most of
seconds.
the double parking is for all the people, all the stores that are on there. They do their job and they leave. I take pictures daily from my window. It works. And by the end of the day, everybody leaves and we're a nice, calm street
10
for
seconds.
our neighborhood.
Thank you very much. Next in favor.
My name is Emily Gottlieb. I'm not a cyclist, but I'm the parent of 2 children who are. Every time they go out to take bike on city streets, I'm incredibly worried and anxious about their safety, concerned I'll get a call that something horrible has happened. That's why I support this bike lane plan that will protect them and other members of the community who bike on 72nd Street. So please vote yes on this redesign proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next opposed.
Hi, my name's James Manfredoni. I live at 72nd Columbus. Been in the city my whole life, business. I'm an educator. 2 things, credibility first. No one talks about regulating e-bikes, 0. I answered my own question at a meeting 2 weeks ago. Who changed the rules in Central Park? The DOT. Now, if you want to cross the road, you have to put your hand up and tell bikes to please stop. There were literally hundreds of residents, tourists trying to cross this past Sunday. Most importantly, it's about risk reward. 20,000 people.
30
You
seconds.
make a wrong decision, it affects 20, 30,000 people, 24/7, 365. It rewards people that need bike lanes, but they could use 71st, 73rd. They use it 9 months a year during daylight hours. Risk reward is staggering. It's an easy decision.
Thank you very much. Next in favor.
Hi, everyone. My name's David Vassar. I live in Morningside Heights. I just turned 70 this year. I've been riding a bike for 33 years since moving to New York back in the 90s. And I love being able to do that. But as I get older, protected bike lanes become all the more crucial. I don't know how many neighbors I've spoken with in my co-op complex at Morningside Gardens who said they would love to bike in the city, but it's just way too dangerous. So I really think protected bike lanes are
30
the way to
seconds.
go. That will encourage more people who are otherwise reluctant to get on bikes. If it discourages people from driving, so be it. I wanted just one last moment to say thank you and congratulations to our friend Ken Coughlin, who made Central Park car-free way back in the 90s, which is something parks should always be. Thank you, Ken.
Thank you. We've now reached the end of the in-person. We're way over time, but due to we want to make sure that Janet Schroeder, you're online, has a chance to speak. She had a little bit of an issue with the line. So Janet, you're allowed to speak, unmute, and you'll be the last one. Janet Schroeder, you're asked to unmute.
I'm trying.
We can hear you. Go for it. 1 minute.
Hang on a second. I am unmuted.
You're unmuted. We can hear you.
Okay, I just need to pull up my notes. I've lived on the Upper West Side for 24 years. I'm on West 72nd Street every day. Facts matter, and the first thing that should be considered before redesigning any street are actual real accident stats. The DOT states there were 37 e-vehicle crashes with injuries in 2023 in all of New York City. In 2023 alone, we at EVSA gained 58 seriously injured victims by e-bikes. Police rarely report e-vehicle crashes because they're not there. The ambulance comes, takes them to the hospital. Only if you've been hit, you know how hard it is to obtain a police report. And these are facts. The ER trauma surgeon at Bellevue, Dr. Angela Pfaff, says they see an average of 1 admission a day. This doesn't align with these stats. E-vehicle related deaths are accurate because they come from the morgue and they're up 100% this year, 13 this year versus 7 last year. We need to use facts when we're designing and looking at redesigning streets. Okay, and that isn't being looked at. We know that we have these stats from the ER.
Thank you, Janet.
Okay.
Read up the names of people.
All of the names? No.
We can just think. We just want to thank everyone who signed up online to speak who wasn't able to tonight. Please submit written and verbal testimony and we'll include that with our resolution.
Okay, I also want to read, I had sent all board members a whole list, documents, people, signatures, so please make sure to take a look on your phone. Also, one just came in today from Rita of the 72nd Street Block Association. So I promised her I'd read it out, and you know we love supporting the block associations. The West 72nd Street Block Association is working with the New York City DOT, our local elected officials, residents, local businesses, Community Board 7, and other stakeholders to ensure that we meet the needs of all constituents. Our goal is to ensure that West 72nd Street can be a safe and inclusive corridor for all. We suggest that this much-needed investment in our community We support this much-needed investment in our community and urge CB7 and DOT to incorporate feedback received at recent meetings and at the upcoming walkthroughs into the final street design. This inclusive approach will ensure safety improvements for all users and support our local businesses. The DOT also wanted to announce that on Friday, they're doing another walkthrough with local businesses and constituents. Last few items that came up that should have been part of our facts, but were not. The DOT said that the NYPD and FDNY were consulted, and we did see emails from them. The plan calls for rumble strips at the intersections. I don't know if Ken said that, but that could be an item of debate. We did hear from someone about emergency vehicles. They currently drive either on the bike lane, and then for the FDNY, when they go to third floor window, the FDNY says what their policy is they park anyway on the sidewalk to get as close to the building as possible. That was their answer. The bus stop on Riverside, as I understand it, and maybe Ken, you could answer this when you discuss, is across the street from the building. Not that that diminishes it, but I'm saying it's across the street from the building. And lastly, there was a question about Why does it have to go down Riverside? The DOT said that the Parks Department says that the place to enter the Greenway is via Riverside at 68th. That's the primary place. That's why DOT picked that. With that, thank you. We'll go to the community board members now. We'll go to the, I think we can't take any more comments. There's no, time limit for you guys, but time is of the essence. It's already 8 something.
23.
There is an end to the meeting at 9:30, and we have other resolutions. So you should be very quick. And with that, I turn it back to Ken and Sophia. And questions from board members. And I think in terms of microphones, we don't have roving mics, unfortunately. So I think board members, you're going to have to come up to these ones here, unfortunately.
Okay.
There's a thing. Take the thing away. Rip the thing, Mina. Yeah, tape the tape. Okay, Ken, take it away.
Okay, board member questions or comments? And I would suggest that we just go through the board once. Nobody gets to talk twice.
Maybe, but let's go through first and hear from members of the board. So yes, please, Shelley, start us up. Everyone go in line.
Thank you. Good evening. Probably spoke to about 55 people who live in the 72nd Street area. And some of them are here tonight, but each one was opposed. And why were they opposed? First, because they felt that this was not a safety plan. Okay, this was a bike plan. When we were doing the Columbus Avenue and then Amsterdam, I suggested we have a two-way bike lane on Columbus Avenue. And I was told, no, that is dangerous. You can't have it. Therefore, we have to have an Amsterdam Avenue bike lane also. The safety issues for a street have to be dealt with without bike lanes first. And if there are safety issues, they should be dealt with. It shouldn't require bike lanes in order to deal with safety. I'm for protected bike lanes, but this is a very complicated program with a lot of objections that people have, particularly for people who are older adults and or mobility impaired, and parents with children going across the street, and many situations. Dykeman Street. I was told by a congressman from that area, the first thing he was thinking of doing is getting rid of the bike lanes. The people don't like them, okay? I'm not opposed to bike, but we're being presented like there's a panacea here, that something's good. And we take data from many different places in the city, which might be valid, okay? I'm not a judge of that. What does this bike lane have in common with all the other ones? It's weighing things that are unequal. So I don't feel comfortable voting for this tonight, and I will oppose it.
Hi, I just wanted to say we've heard a lot from both sides. So my goal was to come up with something that hasn't been said yet, and I've come up with something. There are statistics showing, and we've heard about them a lot tonight, that this makes it safer, but they may not be right. So the point is, I was co-chair of the Transportation Committee when we originally requested this bike lane. That was 6 years ago. And DOT has worked on this for 6 years. So what I think is that we should give this a chance, and if it doesn't work, we could change it. Hopefully we will. Why not? The goal
Please
is
no jeering.
We've been hearing, and I am hearing all the time about the difficulties of safety on the streets. This is something that has worked in other neighborhoods. Try it here. If it doesn't work, we'll fix it. To do nothing is unacceptable.
So I feel like there's a lot of information that I don't have yet. And I feel that to be asked to vote tonight on a resolution when I really feel as if I have many more questions than I have answers. And I'm just going to go through a few of them. There are a lot of pictures of the area between Broadway and Columbus, or Amsterdam and Columbus, whatever you want to call that intersection. There's been no picture that I've seen of the area between Broadway and Amsterdam, that intersection where the subway stations are. I have no idea what that would look like, and it concerns me. You know, that's a place where you have a lot of people crossing. I don't understand what will prevent the bikes from going through, you know, and not stopping where the pedestrians are. I'm concerned about the bus stop that is at Broadway, the south side of Broadway. It's currently not on the corner. It's sort of in the middle of the, you know, it's off the corner by about 20 feet. I don't understand where that bus stop would be because there's no picture of it. I'm also concerned about the prospect of people crossing 72nd Street having to look three ways. You cross when you get off the curb, you cross when you come to the bus, the bike lane, you have to look both ways. And, you know, not everyone's going to look both ways because it's not the normal thing to have a bike lane going two ways. So that seems to me to be an invitation to a disaster. I would like to know how many places in New York have these kinds of two-way bike lanes, how they work, how you keep bikes from hitting one another as they're going two ways. I just feel like I don't really understand too many aspects of this plan to really be able to be for or against it.
Ken, I had my hand up earlier.
Okay, Kevin.
So I'm totally against this plan. I am a biker. I'm a native New Yorker, and as many of my fellow board members know, in October 2024, I was 3 blocks from my building on Riverside Boulevard and 68th Street on a Sunday afternoon. I was at a stop sign. A guy on an e-bike comes up from behind me. Instead of stopping at the stop sign, hits me from behind, and I had a broken toe for 3 months. And keep in mind, those of you who know Riverside Boulevard, it's not a highly trafficked street, especially on a Sunday afternoon. And so if that can happen to me on a highly trafficked street, imagine what can happen on 72nd Street, which is probably one of the most trafficked streets in New York City. And I think to compare Dyckman Street to 72nd Street is absurd. It's absurd. So I am urging my fellow board members to oppose this resolution until we get enforcement. I haven't heard anything about enforcement. These e-bike riders, e-scooters, they need to be licensed, they need insurance, they need to be registered. We don't know who these people are. And so until we get to that point, I'm totally against this plan. Thank you.
Oh, well, I got beat to this, so I'll just start quickly. Nixon 4. Let's make that fair.
New member, introduce yourself.
My name's Austin. I born in the neighborhood in 2002, and I joined the board as of yesterday. So, so I actually I wanted to tell a quick story. I got my master's last year, and I took a class in Amsterdam. And the bike union, Fietsverbond, made a point. They licensed half of their e-bikes. So what they did is they treated everything that went below 15 miles an hour as a normal bicycle and everything above that as a speed pedelec or a fat bike, as you will. And I thought, wait, this is a town 50 years of promoting the gold standard of bike infrastructure. But then I also thought to myself, that's why they regulated them. It's the gold standard of bike infrastructure. What I was writing through was 50 years of best urban planning practices, policy planning, advocacy. And they made the point that when they were going and considering this legislation, they had many critiques and concerns, but the one thing that they did not do was they did not stop continuing to expand their bike infrastructure and continuing to accommodate and proliferate the bike lanes and the infrastructure and the charging. And I feel like Amsterdam is a model that I think we can expect. We can be realistic, but we can also expect our government, expect our DOT, or expect our community board to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Mike Flynn could walk into this room and say, hey, I'm going to put a protected bike lane on every single street on the Upper West Side. That would not stop DOT, the city council, the state assembly from considering legislation, regulation of e-bikes, commercial riders especially, because let's be very clear here, a lot of these people have an incentive to go as fast as possible because it is the commercial riders who are the ones that is the commercial property owners who are incentivizing them to go as fast as they can. So I believe that this plan is not a referendum on our ability to regulate e-bikes. This plan can coexist with potential regulations, whether it's a commercial license bill, whether it's former state senator, now borough president Brad Hoylman's old bill in the state senate, or former controller Brad Lander's blueprint on regulating e-bikes, or Priscilla's law, or whatever else. Those two can coexist. And I also wanted to quickly bring up the point, because I know time is of the essence here on the Queensboro Bridge. That was a gruesome crash, and also it's a crash, not an accident. One thing that hasn't been mentioned is that a lot of the e-micromobility is straight up illegal. And it was never legal. That scooter can go 53 miles per hour. No e-bike, e-scooter, the legal e-scooter limit is 15, not 50. So you're not even talking about licensing. Licensing doesn't fix that because those things need to be off our streets to begin with. Anything that goes over 20 miles an hour should not be on the streets or the bike lane to begin with. So I think we need to also have a conversation alongside expanding infrastructure, alongside regulating our delivery companies, getting those fastest, largest. One of my friends, he coined the term super bikes, and that's what they are. Anything that can go that fast, get those off the streets as well, and then get the companies to license their riders so we can not just hold riders accountable, but hold their companies accountable. And I'll end on this point. Stella Liebeck in 1994, when she spilled hot coffee on herself, she could have sued the employee that spilled the coffee on her, but no, she sued McDonald's. And she got actual results because she sued McDonald's, because she found a practice that McDonald's was telling their employees to serve coffee at that hot temperature at 190 degrees to save time, to save money. And then when she went over to McDonald's, she changed the practice and saved so many lives. Go after the companies because they are the ones perpetuating and encouraging these habits. Thank you.
Hi. Hi, everyone. So thank you. It's great to have you on the board. And congratulations to the new members. This is a hell of a first meeting for you all to be at. So welcome. I am actually the former chair of Community Board 7 and presided over a number of the bike lanes that got put in place in this neighborhood over the last 10 or 15 years. So we have seen a lot of debate. In accordance to what we discussed tonight, I am actually changing the vote that I had at committee to a no vote tonight for a variety of reasons. And I want to be clear why I'm doing that. The first thing I want to say is I appreciate our new board member citing some of the elected officials and things that they could do. I would like for everyone here tonight to acknowledge that I don't think any elected officials are here in the room tonight. And I think for an issue, regardless of what side you're on, for nobody to be here tonight to stand up and go on the record to voice their opinion about this issue, I think says a lot. And I think we should, regardless, again, I think you should remember that we have an election coming up in a couple of weeks. And you know, this is something to me that I found particularly stark about tonight. Another thing I found about tonight was, as referenced before, the 2 lines of people that showed up. I did also notice, as a community board, what we are being asked to do is vote on what the community, our neighborhood, is thinking about. And what I saw tonight was far more people who were here with reservations, not about bike lanes, not about necessarily having something on 72nd Street, but on this particular plan. And they were people who are residents rather than people who are from the larger city. So I took that into consideration. On the design itself, I work in municipal infrastructure as a career. I also noticed the reference to the Queensboro Bridge. I think the two-way aspect of the street redesign proposal to me is a concern. I think that's something that we need to think about. I also looked back and thought about a lot of history in our country. Just thinking about like the interstate system and how the interstate system, we didn't put that in place without thinking about some of the safety and other things that could go into it first. What we're proposing, what is being proposed by DOT is actual infrastructure that is going to be very hard to change. And I think that, again, it's something that we want to do. And we do it, we want to do it right. And we want to do it in the safest way possible. And I guess the final thing is just that I, again, feel as though we need to be really looking at this from a community standpoint, and I hope that we'll have a little bit more time to think it through. And I would like that very much before I vote my, and so that I'm going to have to vote no. Thank you.
I appreciate what Austin had to say. I think it's incumbent on us to make sure the New York State legislation passes legislation to license e-bikes and whatever else, e-scooters, round things that hold people up. And they did not pass it this year. I think that is terrible. I hope they will pass it in the next session. I think we should push our electeds. I am going to vote in favor of this resolution. I think that it has some flaws, and I think that DOT will continue to work with the community to improve it. We've worked very hard for about 10 years. One of our top priorities was to have DOT evaluate doing a redesign on 72nd Street. And while it's not perfect, I think it's a tremendous improvement.
I, like a lot of people here, grew up on the Upper West Side and had the misfortune, I guess, to go to school at Hunter on the East Side. So I had to leave the community every morning. Hunter was great, obviously. And when I was 15, on a day not so different to this, I was biking down 72nd Street to get to school. And a car that was parked in front of the Oliver Cromwell, just west of Central Park West, pulled out without looking and hit me. And I was fine, but as we've heard tonight, these things can be a lot worse and people aren't fine. And I bike down 72nd Street all the time, and I see little kids on their way to Central Park to bike with their families. And Central Park is such an amazing place to bike because we don't have cars in it anymore like when I was growing up. And it terrifies me seeing these kids, thinking about how I was just biking to school and ended up on the ground hit by a car. And I think that it's such a simple thing to put this bike lane in place to allow kids to get to Riverside Park, to get to Central Park in a safe way. And I really hope that people support this because it's going to make it safer for everyone. It's going to increase visibility. It's going to be so much easier. And hopefully now when I bike down 72nd Street in the future, I'm not looking at little kids next to giant trucks, terrified that that something horrible is going to happen because there's no better way to get to the park. So I live on 73rd and West End. Thank you.
Okay, Clary.
Hi. I'm Clary Newelt. I'm a longstanding member of CB7 and I live at 72nd Street and Riverside Drive and have done so for well over 40 years. I will, of course, as I always do, listen to what everybody has to say in this debate before I make my final decision. But I think it highly likely that I will vote no on this tonight. And I'll tell you just a few of the numerous reasons. And number one, there's a bit of sense of bait and switch here. DOT came in the very first part of their presentation to us was that this was going to be part of a river-to-river 72nd Street protected bike lane. They've not yet, as I understand it, presented anything or even offered anything to Board 8 on East 72nd Street. And rumor has it that there will be very strong opposition within Board 8 to an east side river to Central Park bike lane. So there is this sense of bait and switch that they're coming after us first. Second, I did vote as a member of CB7, as I recall, for both the Columbus bike lane and Columbus Avenue and Amsterdam Avenue bike lane. But I believe that West 72nd Street is substantially different in character from both of those avenues. We have a far greater concentration of residences, including very large residential buildings. And on my block, there is no commercial. And on the easternmost of the blocks, there's very limited commercial, but a lot of residential. And the arguments that were made against the bike lanes on Amsterdam and Columbus, while they were heartfelt, I think were not as persuasive or as numerous as the arguments made by the residents of West 72nd Street with regard to the negatives of this proposed bike lane. Third, while I am no longer a cyclist, I haven't been for a while, my husband, who's 78 years old, commutes to his office in Midtown almost every day of the year by city bike. He has almost 3,000 city bike rides. Most of them are commuting to his office. To get there, part of his ride every day is on West 72nd Street. He has told me many times that he does not use the bike lane on Central Park West because it is so dangerous, but he has never said, that he finds West 72nd Street particularly dangerous for biking. There certainly are obstacles. It's not necessarily fun, but he has not encouraged me in any way to vote in favor of this particular proposal. I think because both he and I believe that it will do nothing really for pedestrian or even cyclist safety on 72nd Street. The final reason I'm going to give, and there are more as well, is that at our particular corner, and there's just been a short discussion of it or reference to it tonight, we have a particular situation of massive, many times per day, all week, all year, double and triple parking by short term, but many, 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 as one of my neighbors documented, and we've got the photos, by people who are using the Islamic Cultural Center there. This is not to demonize them anyway, nor to demonize the police, who over the many decades this has been happening, never, ever, ever, ever do an enforcement about that double parking. And the statement earlier that the police are going to change their enforcement pattern was entirely not credible. Maybe the police will do enforcement with regard to e-bikes. I doubt that too, but I have every reason to believe, based on decades, that they will not do enforcement of the double and triple parking at our corner. The result of that and of other aspects that DOT is proposing to make changes on our corner will result, we believe, many of us who live there believe, will result in more danger to cyclists and more danger to pedestrians without doing anything favorable to either one of them in terms of safety. I was disappointed that the co-chairs of this committee did not ask DOT to look at those very site-specific issues and asking them to review issues that members of the community had raised. So I've sent my own comments to DOT and have not yet heard about them, but I hope the DOT will take those very, very mini site-specific issues into consideration, regardless of whether they do the bike lane in chief. Anyway, I think it's too much that we don't know, too many problems, too many issues to say yes tonight.
Okay, let's keep going, but I want to say we have only 12 minutes left and then we have to vote and move on to the other one. So let's go to the rest of the people and then we'll go to Richard at the end.
Okay, so as a proud member of this committee and a lifelong Upper West Sider, I've been riding bikes since, I would argue, most people that are alive in this room have been riding. I've rebuilt my bikes, I've been riding since the 1970s in this neighborhood. But I'll tell you, I have some real problems with this plan. And it's not that I haven't really thought deeply about it, and I care about a lot of people, and I have a lot of respect for our Transalt members, the Streetopia, Open Plans. These are great, meaningfully caring people. But I think in this instance, they may have some of these things wrong. I will tell you, I do think it is absolutely disrespectful and suspect that DOT is not here tonight. And I like them. Colleen, our rep, is a fantastic person, and Danielle, but they're not here. That speaks volumes to me. That speaks that they can't handle the opposition because, dare I use the quote, can they handle the truth? I don't know,
No,
but they're
just
not
to, just to
here.
interrupt you, she's online.
Okay,
Their,
well-
their policy, which is on their website, is that they don't show up at full board meetings. But okay, I just
Okay,
just, you
well,
shouldn't
well,
insult
Colleen
them.
knows me and I care about her, but she's not physically here. Understood. Thank you for answering that. I think that we're doing things, shall I say, bass-ackward. To give you an example, we deregulated or legalized cannabis years ago, which was, I think, a good idea. But we did nothing about enforcement. And what happened? We had 5,000 illegal cannabis stores, and it was a mess for years. We did it in reverse. We have passed now twice resolutions on this board calling for the registration and insurance of e-bikes. That would provide insurance for people that are victims of crashes as well as the cyclists themselves. And also, as my colleague Jay pointed out, it would also avail people that are hit by a vehicle that was otherwise supposed to have been registered and insured, a part of a fund or corporation, and they could actually collect on it. So there's a lot of reasons. We didn't do that yet. And I think that should be done first before we add more. That's another thing. I'm concerned about the conflicts that are going to happen between everybody that's embarking and disembarking on the buses that are stopping every day. One other thing that was not mentioned, it wasn't clear, it seems buried. This plan, if I understand it, correct me if I have my facts wrong, is removing all metered parking on West 72nd Street for non-commercial vehicles.
False.
What's that?
I said false.
That
You
is
said
false?
correct you if you're wrong. Yes.
Okay,
false.
so it is a remove. I was told. Okay, okay. So there are metered parking that would be not that are being removed.
There's some that are being removed and a lot that are being added as requests for the businesses
Okay.
from Columbus to Central Park West, as well as in Riverside.
I stand corrected if that was. So I do feel that we're rushing this. Look, you want to talk about the facts. The 72nd Street Block Association did a survey. 59% opposed. 38% in favor of this. Our CB7 did a survey. 696 people responded. 55% opposed it, 45% in favor. Do those numbers speak volumes? I think so. So I think all this is meaningful. I was hoping that we would have more of a chance to review this and that there would be some redesigns that really could address more of the people's questions and concerns. I don't feel in good conscience I can vote for this tonight. Thank you.
Eric.
Hello.
Keep it snappy.
I will. Hello, my name is Eric Schmidt. I'm on the Transportation Committee. I want to thank everyone who has spoken tonight, especially those who have been injured or lost someone to a car or bike accident. I've heard a few people bring up enforcement, and I actually think both sides would agree we need the laws we already have enforced to help keep people safe. I do not have a bike. I do not have a car. I am just a pedestrian. I am equally annoyed by both car owners and bike owners in my daily life. I have listened to and considered both sides of this issue, and I support the resolution. My main reason is lived experience. I have seen the before and after of streets that have added bike lanes with my own eyes, and they have improved. They are more pleasant to visit. They usually end up having trees added, which generally makes the street, block, neighborhood, and community better. I can't speak for everyone, and maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm more likely to visit streets with bike lanes and spend money at the businesses there. Do you have size 13s? You do? Okay, I can rarely find them. I'll be by soon. Perfect. I'm there. In general, when these proposals come up, it seems like there's first backlash to the bike lanes, but then after it gets put in, people are usually like, wow, this is better. Or they just feel it didn't really affect their life one way or another. Thank you, and go Knicks.
I agree with the Go Knicks. Yes, Nixon 4. Native New Yorker here. I just have one question because I go to 72nd Street for very not so good moments, right? Because I go to the funeral home there. So people talked about the people getting hit, the dead people, and this is all very sad and very confusing. Right, but what's going to happen with the real dead people whose families are there on 72nd Street on a regular basis? if there wasn't a survey for the businesses, what's going to happen with Ortiz Funeral Home and all of the dead people, and when they have to bring the casket into the funeral home and bring it out of the funeral home? And what's going to, how's that going to impact traffic? And were any provisions made, any conversations with the ownership of the funeral home or the management? That's my question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they did discuss DOT, the funeral home, as a few of the other ones. And again, they said that they will stop and load in the, adjacent part with the parking. And that's why part of the reason why they've removed this is now commercial parking. So that was their answer about the Ortiz funeral home. Okay, great. Mr. Adolph.
Yes, sir. First of all, unlike my colleague Adam, who said he grew up on the Upper West Side, I didn't, but I grew old on the Upper West Side. First, and I want to somewhat echo what Elizabeth said earlier and maybe embellish it a little bit. I joined this board 17 years ago.
Central Park Conservancy on the Conservancy board.
Go for it.
Back to a community that I've spent most of my adult life on. And it's that community that I think we have an obligation to represent. A month ago, we passed for the second time in 4.5 years a resolution calling for the items that a few of you have mentioned: registration, insurance, a system where people have recourse when they're injured by e-vehicles. And I was very proud of that. And it passed overwhelmingly, and it represented the majority of the opinion of our community. What I saw tonight is, and I took note, that it seems to me a majority of the people who spoke in favor of this proposal were either wearing T-shirts that said "Families for Safe Streets" or stickers in support of it. I asked one of the speakers afterwards where the stickers came from. And they came from Transportation Alternatives. And let me be clear, Transportation Alternatives, Streetopia, and Families for Safe Streets are all the same. The latter two are housed, funded, and staffed by Transportation Alternatives, but that organization, like any organization, has a right to their opinions, a right to their agenda, and a right to free speech. But it's our job to represent the people in our community. And our community is overwhelmingly concerned about this proposal based on what we've heard tonight. So I have my doubts about the efficacy of this particular plan. I have several concerns, most of which have been articulated, so I'm not going to repeat them. But the fact is that I want to, as a member of the community board, I want to represent the community. The community has serious concerns about this plan. The community is not convinced that this plan is going to increase safety. We've seen other changes, as one of the gentlemen testified, that hasn't changed a thing. Things in the park, things on West End Avenue, things on Central Park West.
Yeah, we gotta go.
I know you, I know, Ken, you don't.
All right, all right, all right. Keep going, keep
But,
going.
all
We're
right.
almost done.
So my
get it.
point is, it's clear to me that a majority of our community, at least at this point, does not want this change. So I'm going to vote against it, like so many of my colleagues.
Okay, let's go, Jamie. Let's be quicker though. We really have other things to do. 30 minutes left. Worried about.
First of all, I have to take a few seconds of my time to echo what Henry said earlier. I don't know if he's still here. I really wish and hope that we can, when we hit these kinds of issues in the future, engage in a civil, collaborative, community-focused conversation, even when we disagree. Okay, that being said, I will now say what my piece. I'm going to try not to repeat what's been said by anyone else, and return to where Ken began this conversation with the history, as I know it, of this proposal, which seems to be a done deal from DOT. It came first to my attention when I was co-chairing with Elizabeth the Transportation Committee, on which I still currently sit. I now chair Public Safety, a task force. And when they came to us then, DOT, and hello, Colleen, it was presented to us as a river-to-river bike lane proposal that would be a one-way bike lane on one side, one way on the other side of the street to get us from the east side to the west side and vice versa. And by the way, I was all for it. But I grew up biking in Central Park with my parents, native New Yorker, the whole bit. Then they pulled the plan and fast forward, came back to the committee. Elizabeth and I were no longer co-chairing. Ken and Sophia were co-chairing. The east side was no longer a part of the conversation, and it was simply a Riverside to Central Park bilateral bike lane, which is a completely different urban structure. I'm not an urban planner, but many of you apparently are. Different and far more controversial plan that seemed to be a done deal. I bring that up because that is why I will be voting against it. Procedural process reasons more than the plan itself. I do want to say, though, one other thing. Other cities can be instructive. And by the way, Austin, thank you so much for joining this board. Because I remember when you came to public safety to share with us everything you learned in Amsterdam and other parts of the world. And I think we can learn from other cities. I spend a lot of time in San Francisco, where there is a very controversial and thorny bifurcated plan on, it's there now, it's a lane on Valencia Avenue. And they have had, it's been scrapped. The current plan still requires complex adjustments, relocation of loading zones, readjusting mid-block access. There have been accidents. I'm a cyclist. I love the bike lane, but I want us to get our heads ahead of the process, not have to reverse course after the plan goes in. Several people have raised infrastructure and urban planning, such as Amsterdam. Street redesign can save lives. The question is whether this plan will save lives. We should applaud the efforts to make 72nd Street safer, but with a collaborative, thoughtful plan. The last thing, collaborative and thoughtful plan. The last thing I'm going to say is if there's a walkthrough on Friday, why are we voting on this plan tonight?
Let's keep.
Thank you.
Wait, okay, let's keep going. We're really running out of time. So, okay, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I'm co-chair of the Transportation Committee. I just want to clarify a couple things and hopefully say things that haven't already been said. Okay, so in terms of there's been criticism that there hasn't been enough community outreach. And DOT actually outreached to 89 businesses on 72nd Street. They talked to 85 high density.
Please don't interrupt the speakers.
Shh, keep going, Sophia. Just speak louder.
5 high density residential buildings. Some board members said that they're surprised that politicians are not here. I'm an urban planner and I work with politicians on street design. I'm not surprised at all. This is a community session. They're waiting to see what is discussed and what we decide, and then they'll come out with their opinion. So that does not surprise me. I've also heard that we're rushing this. We asked for this resolution 6 years ago. We got a thorough presentation from DOT in April, and we actually delayed this meeting by an extra month so we could get extra community input. I also just want to address that I find it very dismissive when it said that everyone that is for it is represented by a third-party agency like Transportation Alternatives or Open Plans. I find that dismissive of their time. And I know that's not true. Not everybody is showing up with an agenda, even if they are, they're volunteering doing that. But the other side also has an organization representing them, the EVSA, and that's totally fine. But just don't.
Just keep going, Sophia.
It's fine. It's fine. Everybody shows up with their time. Let's not be dismissive. Jamie said that we can learn from other cities. We haven't actually talked about how this plan actually has really progressive parking policies. As I said, I actually work with other cities under the European Union, and we're implementing these types of parking policies. This is money that's going to be good for the city too. More turnaround, more loading zones. And ultimately, this is a major investment in our neighborhood, and we should welcome it. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna vote in 6 minutes, so you gotta go faster. I'm gonna get to you. Go.
Hi, everybody. I want to welcome our new members. It's, as Elizabeth said, it's not always like this. Echoing what Jamie and Elizabeth said, this is a process that has been long going. I just want to highlight some facts that I have learned that have helped me come to my decision. First, I did not know when I went to the presentation on this plan that West 72nd Street is on the top 10% most dangerous streets in Manhattan. I think that it is, we all experience, many members, when you walk across 72nd Street at Amsterdam and Broadway, it is very scary and very dangerous. So let me address to you why I think that this particular plan will actually help address that. First, there are going to be shorter crossing distances for pedestrians. Every bus stop except one will have an 8-foot raised concrete barrier. We saw lots of photos of that. That means that the woman who spoke here, who got off a bus that didn't stop close enough to the curb and was scared by a bike, that will actually be addressed by this plan. Because this plan will say these buses will stop at raised areas where there will be pedestrian refuges excuse me, guys, come on.
Guys, please.
Seriously.
Keep going.
This is what is in this plan. I want to also say DOT has been very responsive. Since the first meeting in April, they went back to the drawing board and they changed a lot of the parking to address the business owners' concerns. For the business owners who need curb access, you're going to get it here. If you're on the south side, you are going to do nothing but benefit. So when someone comes here from Akron Merrill, which is on the south side, you're going to benefit. Why? Because there will be increased curb access, because there will be redesigned parking. For people who are concerned about finding parking, or who say that 72nd Street, I've heard, it's already very easy to park on 72nd Street. It'll be even easier. You just won't be able to park all day. And finally, this is actually a pro parking thing, and I'll be done. When we heard from CB8 that they have a two-way on the other side, right? And we shouldn't have it on 72nd. If you want to follow CB8's model and give up all of the parking that evidently CB8 was perfectly happy to do, that's what you can do. But DOT told us in this case that if they were going to redesign, do 2 different streets on 71st and 73rd, that would require them to take way more parking than they already have. Now, this is about safety. I care about pedestrian safety. I care about my kids and all of everyone else's. That's why I think this design, even if you don't like the perfect, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Thank you.
Okay, Winston, new board member. Hey.
Thank you. My name is Winston Von Engel. I'm a new board member, and I want to speak up here. I strongly support the redesign by DOT. I am a biker. I live in this community. I use 72nd Street. I can see how this will be an improvement. I believe in the facts over emotion. And I believe that DOT's facts, I know with my own 91-year-old mother who shuffles across 3rd Avenue where there is a bike lane and a traffic and a pedestrian island, that it makes it safer for her to cross that street, even though she's very slow. So I support this strongly.
I like this guy. He's very succinct. Tabitha.
Hi, yeah, I support the proposal as well. I think it will make neighborhood safer. It will save lives. Thank you.
Even more succinct. Wow. Okay. Richard. Yeah, we're gonna go, Louisa. Don't worry.
I oppose the resolution, and not just because I'm wearing tip-top shoes. I've listened very carefully for the last couple of hours to advocates on both sides. The advocates for the resolution seem to be concerned with bike safety, but have not, and for good reason, and some heart-rending reasons, feel very strongly about this. But I haven't heard any links between this plan and improvement of pedestrian safety. Specifically, I understand that there are statistics relating to bike lanes generally, but nothing with respect to this specific item. I don't see how the pedestrian crossing will be reduced by this plan. A person going from the north side or the south side of 72nd Street to the other side is going to have exactly the same distance to travel. The only difference will be
Guys,
that
please
that
don't
person
interrupt the
will have to
speakers.
look out for bikes going in both directions before they get to some median. But on the other side, there was an outpouring, which is unusual, a little bit unusual in this board, an outpouring, almost unanimous opposition to this plan by both residents and business owners. And I can understand that. As I understand the plan, there will be one lane going westbound that will have to be shared by buses, through traffic, delivery people making deliveries and putting their vehicles who knows where, double parkers, which is not going to be eliminated, and cabs and Uber drivers picking up or delivering residents or people attending the businesses. To make it worse, the moving of the bus stop into that one lane will mean that all traffic will be halted whenever there's a bus on that road. There will not be any ability to travel on that road if there's a bus at a bus stop. It's exactly the opposite of what the city has done elsewhere in the city. For example, 96th Street, where they've created bus lanes, which makes sense. But here, the bus is now going to be, no traffic can avoid the bus. So for that reason, I'm going to be voting against this resolution. I would hope that there's some other solution to getting bikes safely across town, but this is not the way to go as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, we have one person online, and then we will be just a
I'm gonna-
10-second
I'm gonna
announcement, and then
speak
we're
also.
going to be opening voting.
Go for it, Louisa.
I'm also going to speak.
Go for it, Lisa.
Okay, I am going to vote against this. I appreciate all the work that's gone into it, but there are so many questions still of how people will get around. During the pandemic, when all those restaurants were in the street and you had the bike lanes on Columbus and Amsterdam, I remember how difficult it was to cross from the restaurant to the sidewalk because of the bike lanes. I am very concerned about how people will get off buses. I am wondering if any kind of speed bumps are being put in, if there's any kind of raising of the street. I don't understand why the adjacent streets cannot be used for bus lanes, considering how crowded 72nd Street is. So I have all these questions, And I also appreciate how many people have come out and how many people are deeply affected by this. And I feel that we really have to reconsider and meet with DOT some more and try to pin them down on various things. I think it was Minna who talked about the area where Amsterdam and Broadway meet, where the subway stations are. We don't really have any plans, at least I haven't seen any, that go all the way from Riverside to Central Park West and show everything how it would work. We need that. We don't have enough information.
All
So
right.
unfortunately, I'm going to vote no.
Nandita.
Mine is just like a 10-second thing. There are a number of people who've mentioned that, they're talking about support in the room. I just want to highlight for people in the room, at our peak, we had about 170 people online joining us, and currently we have about 140. I know there are people who are waiting outside, some of them since 4:30 who couldn't enter because they hit max capacity. And I just want to acknowledge the people online who feel, people are only hearing the opinions of people in the room, regardless of what side of the issue you voted on. We truly appreciate you coming to the venue in person and trying to enter. We appreciate you joining us online. We appreciate your input. And again, we value any written and verbal testimony that you can submit through our form online. So for board members as well, please remember there's 170 people online listening as well. Thank you. Go ahead. Ken.
Okay, right before Ken, I just want to say personally, I'll be voting yes for this resolution. We passed last month a resolution calling for e-bike registration. As talking about the subway station, Minna, there's currently in the designs in the PDF, they have that all detailed. There's fences currently on the sidewalk. So there's a fence between the sidewalk, the street and the sidewalk. That continues. As far as Jamie's point about like reversing this decision, the plan is still river to river. They said they go community board by community board. So I don't really understand that like we got hoodwinked. I would say I hear people's concerns, and I've walked with many of you on 72nd Street. I hear the concerns about crossing the double bike lane. That's why I think, there are currently items in the design about rumble strips, and I would like to make potentially friendly amendments to say that we, call for further treatments, both rumble strips, both stoplights, both raised crosswalks, or other methods to make sure that all bikes must stop before hitting the the crossing. And I think that could be a kind of a friendly amendment.
That's accepted, yes. There, I just want to speak. I think it's very unfair to make the claim that the majority are in the community are opposed to this just because
Please don't interrupt the
just
speakers.
because
Keep going.
Please don't interrupt
just
the
because the
speakers.
most vocal members are the ones who are opposed. Change is really difficult, and it brings out the fear mechanism
Please
in
don't
us.
interrupt the speakers.
And you're just proving the point.
I think it's time to call the question.
No,
Yeah.
no, hang on.
Ken, I just
Hang
want to
on,
highlight it's
hang on.
9:17 and we have 4 resolutions
Okay,
total to vote on.
I just want to say I've been on this board for 17 years. I've been through all the bike lane battles, every single one. It was a lot just like this. And people said businesses will suffer, safety will be compromised, especially for pedestrians, and there will be more congestion. And in every case, it proved to be unfounded. So, and within 2 months, nobody could remember what the street looked like, and they loved the way it was. So this is,
Okay,
Um,
call the question.
Question has been called.
Okay, voting is now open.
Clary, what was your?
Yeah, once we shared the results, we stopped taking the input because otherwise you would not be able to get the results. Yeah. Yeah, we have a comment section. You can email in. But yes, the question's been called, so voting is open. Okay. Okay. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The friendly amendment was in addition to
That mean you're
adding
voting for?
rumble strips, we're adding additional enforcement as well. Yeah, voting is open. I'll share the screen once the results are in to not influence other people.
Okay, get your votes in. And if you're having trouble voting, please raise your hand so I can assist you.
And it's not alone. I think so.
Okay. Alex,
Yes.
I'm
I'm
having
listening.
trouble. Put me down as no.
Okay, let's do a manual no. I'll check it out.
We have you down as a manual no.
Yes, thank you.
Questions?
You're up next.
Beverly, you voted?
I mean, it's.
I'm not sharing until they vote.
Yeah.
Because-
So we were above roll call amounts.
So Louisa, we need
Just double
Sarah
check. I wanna
Lee,
make sure this is kinda-
Winston.
This is cruel. I want to make sure.
Yeah, she's
I know she was in the list though. It's too much,
not in there because she can't text in.
Winston is
Winston.
yes.
Oh, Winston voted, Winston voted, yeah.
Where did he show up?
Sarah Lee and Louisa I have.
A low traffic street, like let's say 71st. So that's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Me second.
Okay, everyone, please. If you haven't voted, your time is running out. You should raise your hand if you haven't voted so that I can figure out your problem or count you manually. The current vote is Nandita is sharing her screen.
And then it's +2 no votes, man.
So it's currently 25
19-1-0.
19-1-0. So you have 30 more seconds. You should be voting. If you are not voting, you should be raising your hand. You have 10 seconds. No, you can't. But thank you for offering.
So
All right, close the vote.
So the final vote is 26-19-1-0. It carries.
Okay. Okay, stop sharing. So what we're gonna have to do now, because we have to run through some very important ones. Doug, we need to do BCI and we need to do it fast. So let's do a bundle, BCI.
Question.
And everyone leaving, please leave quickly and quietly. BCI, let's go.
Okay, we're going to bundle 3 on BCI. First is 432 Columbus, which was Pizzeria Uno. Non-controversial. They are just changing.
We're talking
Guys,
about
we're still-
Pizzeria Uno.
Guys, we
Okay.
still are in session. Please be quiet as you're exiting the room.
And I want you to know that Pizzeria Uno will be getting a liquor license.
Well, there's no change in method of operation. They're just changing their corporate name. We voted, supported unanimously, including non-committee. 854 Amsterdam voted in favor. And 150 Manhattan Avenue, we voted against. So your vote yes would be against because they did not show. We voted against without prejudice. They can return. So all 3 of these, I would urge you to vote yes. They're all bundled. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. The vote is open. Call the question. And I'll see you at Pizzeria Uno. No. The question is open.
Is Health and Human Services queued up next?
I was gonna do LPC because they're.
Okay.
It's preservation.
Yeah, preservation.
Okay, I'm gonna start talking while people are voting. We have 2 applications. Someone asked that they not be bundled, so unfortunately you have to vote on them separately. The first is to align all the air conditioners in one building. And then the second one was some work on the facade of a building, including changes to the doors, windows, new cheek walls, and some changes to the rear yard and the rear facade. So the first one was extremely uncontroversial. It's literally just putting all the air conditioners on the same side of the windows. So if the minute we finish the other vote, we can call that
The
question.
other vote carried 39,000.
So can we call the question on 128 West 72nd Street?
128 West 72nd. Wait.
I got this. I got this.
Now.
Okay.
Is it open?
Yes, voting is open.
Okay, and if we go to 313 West 77?
Yep.
Here it is. It's going to change the front of the building. It's going to add a new gate. It's going to add some new walls. It's going to change the windows. And we ask that the ironwork on the windows, the new ironwork, be slightly more ornamental.
Call the question.
We need the other one to stop voting. Alex, you have not voted.
I vote yes.
I'm gonna start naming and shaming people or just stop the vote if,
Yeah, I think you should just stop it.
okay. It passes.
This is
Lisa's a yes or no? Louisa, raise your hand if you're a yes. Okay. It passes 38,000.
Okay, and let's call a question on the other one. Let me know when it's open.
What's the address again?
313 West 77th.
Open.
Not yet. Okay, voting is open. Oh, yes.
So I will tell you, we have a problem in that we have 5 minutes left, but we have a good parks resolution that we should vote on. But we also have a resolution for the no parking in front of the homeless shelter that we should also vote on, and we really just don't have time. And I don't want to be seen as just rushing things. So I think that we should do the later in June quick meeting with no public, because I think Elizabeth's right that we're just gonna, this is not good to just slam through things. So I think we should do parks and then we'll be done. Okay, parks is up.
Real quick, the final vote is 38,100.
And I'm sharing my screen with the beautiful parks presentation.
The resolution is about the rehabilitation and the restoration of the conservatory water. It includes the boat basin, surrounding landscape, and the curb boathouse. The basin is leaking, it's cracked, it's not holding any of the water. The entire area, including the terrace, is really worn, and everything needs to be improved accessibility-wise. This proposal is going to repair that. It's going to waterproof the basin. It's going to restore and improve the pathways. It's going to actually add accessibility, which is lacking in the bathrooms in this area of the park, which is very important. It expands the bathrooms and now has an all-gender bathroom, a family bathroom, and it also has an accessible sandbox and a green roof. So this passed in committee unanimously. We loved it. We wanted them to present twice. It was great. So, and our final vote was 8-0 to 0 to 0.
Call the question.
Question is called, voting is open.
Great new board member. I like the chatter. 10 out of 10.
All right.
Louisa votes yes. All right, well, we'll follow up, Jesse and I, on the meeting for the end of this month. I'm sorry that we have to do it, but I don't think we have enough time to continue properly. So a motion to dismiss. Okay, thank you. And thanks-
The parks vote carries 42,000.
And thank you all new members, and we are, usually our meetings are so great, so please come back.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Great job.
We tried our best.